It basically was me boxing. They finally come out and reveal it.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.
Yes, 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 yes. We are back for another hot episode of the Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen. I appreciate everybody who is joining us this week. You all greatly appreciate it, and we got a hot topic. One of the few topics, I have to say, that the caveman and the guru disagree on. Most things we find ourselves in absolute accordance just by observing, the madness of reality. I mean, we come to the very similar conclusions. But on this one in particular, we seem to just, not be able to line up in a way, but that's all good. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We get to tease these topics out. We get to mine the absurdity and figure all these things out. But before we get too deep into this week's conversation, which is a debate on intersexual violence, also known as whoop that trick. And that can go either way. That's not misogynist or anything. Either person could be the trick and either person could be doing the whooping. So that's completely fair. So how you brothers doing this week?
I'm drunk and angry.
That usually makes for a good show. We got some wine flowing, some Delta 8 popping off. That usually makes for a pretty good show. But we were, everybody, it's not just us. A lot of people were inspired. I don't know if I should say inspired, but yeah, I would say inspired. Inspired by the actions of a man named Dana White. Dana White this past week, who is the owner and operator of the UFC, MMA, put two men in a cage and let them beat each other half to death. We'll pay him a little bit of money while we make a whole lot more. I'm not sure if that's their official motto, but I think it's in the bylaws somewhere.
He's progressive too. He does it with women too. He's progressive.
Yeah. Hey, listen. So we might as well just hop right into it. So
and the women fights are undeniably better too.
Yeah,
the women fights,
they got bird bones.
They go all out.
They got bird
way
bones.
More action in the women
It's a lot
fights.
harder for them to knock each other out. A lot more punches landed, stuff like that. Dudes are just going for the kill. Women are pretty much playing an aggressive game of patty cake. So, I love them. They're doing their best. Bless their little hearts. But this week, I think it was in Mexico somewhere. So Dana White is in Mexico with his wife, and they happen to exchange some words. And you know what? I'll let Dana speak for himself here. Let him speak for himself. All right, so they're just having a little discussion here. She looks angry. He's out, bang. Okay. So whatever was being said, she didn't seem to like it too much. She looked a little bit outraged, as you can see right before the strike. She looks a little outraged. She said, "What you say?" And she goes across his face. She smacked him across the face. So before we get into the fullness, the wholeness of the debate, Mr. Cavemanstein, is that a fair acceleration from words to violence?
Of course not.
Okay.
Of course
We're
not.
in agreement.
But what does the ancient wisdom tell us? Bitches be crazy.
This is true.
Bitches are crazy. And so what I'll say is that your brand of misogyny and my brand of misogyny are different. That where we have the common denominators, we'll both be called misogynist, but for different reasons.
Yes.
Because I think this is a reaction. I'm not gonna say it's okay. He said something to her, probably like, "Bitch, you going where I'm going. I pay all the bills. What are you talking about? Come on, let's go." And she didn't like it. She didn't like her station. She didn't like the way he was talking to her. But he put his hand on her. He grabbed her, trying to tell her where she was gonna go, probably. And if I had to bet money on it, it was a fight over some stupid shit. She had drank way too much, and he was just trying to rein it in and de-escalate the situation. Say, "Baby, come on, let's just go. You've had enough. Let's go home. Fuck you. I'm not going with you. I'll find my way back to the hotel in murderous ass Mexico. I don't need you.
Right.
And he's dealing with her shenanigans, and he's finally like, oh, bitch, come on. And he grabs her by the arm, and he goes to take it, whispers something in the ear, and she goes to the hit. Now, was that justified? Of course not.
Right.
Of course not. But if you're a man who's ever been in a relationship with a woman, then you know you've got pulled into one of these stupid arguments where you have to try to avoid worse shit happening. Because if you let her go home and she gets raped and murdered, it's your fault. Right? If you don't put her in the car, it's your fault.
Right.
Right?
And it's also your fault for manhandling her to put her in the car to stop her from getting gang raped by a cartel.
Right. And so now you're hoping that you're going to be like Mr. Magoo and just all the circumstances around you are going to fall into your favor. Everything's going to work out. You're going to walk home safe. And he knows better. He's thinking clearly, and he's like, no. And so she goes and she hits him.
Okay.
So obviously this is an acceleration.
Okay. So okay, let's just see what all the controversy is about, because this clearly isn't the controversy. Dana's wife smacking him is not the controversy. The controversy is his reaction to the smack, which is this.
Quick question.
What's up?
Did Jay-Z get as much when Jay-Z and Solange thing happened? Did Jay-Z get any flack? I know people said they would have choked the girl out.
Because he didn't do anything.
But he didn't hit her.
Yeah, he didn't do nothing.
Yeah, no, I know.
He didn't do nothing. So there was no flack. Yeah, nobody said nothing. In their opinion, he did the right thing. He just took the abuse.
And Dame Dash said he would have choked her, by the way.
He should have.
If that was his position.
Dana smacks her back, gives him one more just for good measure. But they're like little, not to diminish what's happening here, but if you look at the slap, she full connected on her slap.
Sure.
Pow! She full connected.
And that's what you call a sucker punch too, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because they're just talking. That's his wife. He's married to her for 30 years. He said, this is not their first rodeo, in my opinion. You don't decide.
That's not her first slap.
No, you don't decide after 30 years to slap
Yeah.
your husband on like that. That's not how this shit works. So, like I said, her slap fully connected. He gave her a couple of corrective pops. Bang. The first one was a little heavy, a little bit, not heavy enough.
You did more than one?
Yeah. Second one right there, little smack, just to get her.
She was
just to get her
coming
head
at him.
right. Yeah, just to get her head right. But
I only saw the one.
no, it was two. But those, in my opinion, those two don't equal up to the torque and connection that she got from her first slap. He gave her some really light corrective, like, yo, stop playing, we in public kind of slaps. That wasn't a full... If you walked up to Dana White at a bar and open hand smacked him, that's not what he would give you in return. He'd probably scoop you up and try to ground and pound you like a UFC match. And rightfully so. Most people would agree. That's what you get. You slap a man, he gets to beat the hell out of you. This is, in my opinion, I've said this before. I was explaining this to my lady the other day. I think that an acceleration from 0 to 1 is larger than from 1 to 100. Because if there's nothing happening, nobody's hitting nobody, and you decide to create violence, you initiate violence, that is a larger aggressive move than if you slap me and I shoot you. Because you went from 0 to 1. You can say, yo, you responded a little bit too harshly, but that doesn't exist after you were the one who introduced violence to a situation where there was no violence. That's my opinion.
Right.
So I think it's perfectly fine to return violence on anybody who initiates it on you.
Another question. You're married. Let's give it 10 years. 3 physical altercations. 2 out of those physical altercations, the man is bleeding and hurting, but he walks away. 3rd altercation, loses control.
No, see, I personally...
And when I say lose control, I don't mean, I just mean Dana White. I don't mean like, oh, she just got beat the fuck out of her. Just a couple slapping taps.
No, the bad part is...
Physical altercation, the man is bleeding.
The bad part is once you decide to allow violence to take place, and this is my argument with the basis of the whole debate for me. Once you decide to allow a woman to commit violence on you, you've taught her that it's okay. right? You're going to restrain yourself. You're going to say, no, don't hit women. You're going to go through all of these extra, mental gymnastics to explain why. Well, first, let me just state my full case. Nobody should be hitting anybody, right? I think we can all agree with that. Nobody, especially in relationships, all that, there just shouldn't be any violence, or violence in every direction is acceptable. When you create these caveats and protected classes, all you're doing is creating a path to where people are going to be completely and totally out of control. What do you think happens if society as a whole decides no matter what happens, you can never hit a midget? What do you think happens in 5 years?
Midgets are going to be the greatest thugs of all time.
Exactly. They're going to be running rampant, creating all kinds of chaos all over the country because they know you cannot hit them back. No, I'm a midget. What are you going to do? They'd be jumping off tables and doing fucking WWF moves in Applebee's. Like, what are you going to do? Hit me back? You can't. I'm a midget. This is the inevitable outcome of creating protected classes. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it.
It's so my personal belief is you can never hit a woman, ever. You can't. You can protect yourself, but you can't hit her because she's crazy and she's weak. The difference between a woman and a tiny man, right? Because we've agreed if you're a tiny man, you're basically a woman. If you're in a fight, you're basically a woman. But the difference is
pulled out the gun.
But the difference is you're not crazy. You know better. That's why it's okay to beat a little man the fuck up, even though for all intents and purposes, he's basically poses as much of a threat as a woman, but he's still a man and he knows the rules and he chose to engage in violence anyway, and you could be humble and not whip his ass that bad, but I think that's because I could see your next logical question would be, well, if it's not okay to hit a woman when she hits you, why is it okay to hit a tiny man if he hits you first, right? Because he's basically a woman. Because he is a man and he's not crazy and he knows better. So women have two things working against them. They're out of their minds. They can absolutely lose their mind and have because of their emotions, they're not rooted in reality. I don't give a fuck. You can talk to any woman and she'll sell you on all the reasons why she's different. Oh yeah, bitches be crazy, but not me. I'm totally super different. No, you're not. You just haven't got. I haven't seen the situation yet, but you're absolutely capable, and you will behave erratically, emotionally. You won't be able to be reasoned with, and sometimes when you won't be reasoned with, you'll put yourself and other people around you in danger. You will, and thugs are just women with high teeth. It's the same emotional shit. You can't reason with them. You can't reason. They can't be reasoned with. There's no talking to them, right? So in that situation, it's like, okay, I'm in charge here because I am the sober-minded party. I have my wits about me. I know this person is making bad decisions, and they can't really hurt me. They can't. They can embarrass me. I got to deal with this shit in public. It's a bad look. It makes you feel a little shitty. But at the end of the day, they pose no threat. That woman poses zero threat to Dana White. None. She can't do any. It realistically, she cannot harm him. Now, it's different if a chick has a gun or a knife, or I'm not even gonna say a battery.
Imagine if that was a Mexican cartel situation. She would have been dead. The first slap, like the bodyguards, the Scaros.
But you know what? You know what the funny part is?
Know.
In a Mexican cartel situation, they would already know the danger of the outcome, and they would never strike.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Something said about that. Yeah.
They know. They totally understand. They totally understand when there are consequences, right? So they're not as crazy as some, sexist, misogynist think they are. They're not crazy. They completely understand when something's going to happen that they can't control. right? When there's something's going to happen that they can't control, something that they don't want to go down, they know how to control themselves. They're like, I don't want to get my shit kicked in, so I'm just going to not hit this guy. I'm going to leave him alone. And this brings me to what I like to refer to as Exhibit B. Okay, so let me pop this up here. We got Exhibit B. Where we at here? Okay. So this is taking place, I think it's in Germany, Russia, something like that. It says it's a German woman. She gets into a confrontation with a Russian guy. Now, I want you to see something that's referred to as the factory reset. Okay? So she's arguing with this guy. Well, I did that wrong. Hold on. She's arguing with the guy, talking a bunch of shit. Another woman walks by like, yo, you better chill. So it's a bunch of shit being talked. Nothing major just yet. She decides to up the ante. Now, look at this. Look. Enlightenment. Factory reset. She's not angry anymore.
Said Russian. I was like, yeah, this is not going to end very well.
Yeah, she should have known better. Now look,
she was German.
Yeah. Just look at the demeanor though. Look at her demeanor. She ain't mad no more. She don't want to fight no more. She ain't talking no more shit. Look.
I'm sorry that I'm laughing.
Complete and utter factory reset. Now, I understand when you saying that they're crazy, they can't control themselves, you know better because you're a man. She also knows better. Because if she was crazy,
she stopped talking, she got up and she just stopped.
Right. If she was crazy, she would have got up and went and got
going.
more. She would have went for more. She would have jumped on him or something like that. She slapped him. He slapped her back. She said, you know what? This is a bad idea. The only path, when you have a woman who's willing to strike you, a woman who's willing to introduce violence, the only path to her learning that violence is unacceptable is to have a higher level of violence enacted upon her. She has to understand the real danger of the situation. If she knows you either that you won't hit her or that all you're going to do is try to restrain her or try to talk some sense into her, she has no reason to turn her violence down. She has no reason to not attempt to give you every bit of unprocessed divine feminine trauma that she has trapped in her little bird bone body. She's going to try to give you all of it because she knows your manhood, your definition of who you are as a man is wrapped up in your ability to take all her shit and not really even fully defend yourself. Because defending yourself means, threat assessment and stopping the person from attacking you. And that also includes whooping their ass sometime. He didn't have to jump on her and ground and pound her. He didn't have to He gave her exactly what she gave him, and she instantly came to her senses.
I think he punched her.
No, he slapped her. It was open hand. We can watch it again if you want.
It was a slap.
Yeah, we can watch it again.
Let's watch the connection here.
All I know is I saw the sense come back. She got hit. Yeah, it was too fast.
Yeah, and I heard, you could hear it. It wasn't a deep thud. It was a high-pitched smack. And now just look at how she composes herself instantly. Look, fix my clothes. You know what? Yeah, I was dumb. That was my bad. Let me just.
I have no idea what they're saying, but I know what they're saying. It's crazy.
Look how son looking at her. He's like, yeah, that was dumb, wasn't it? Yeah, she figured it out in that moment. Now she's smarter now than she was before the slap. It's really difficult.
It's gonna sound even more condescending, but it's like dealing with children.
There we go. Let's get to it. Let's go.
It's how I listen. If I'm being 100, I couldn't punch a baby, right? And I know that makes me a dinosaur racist bigot because you shouldn't be ageist, you shouldn't be sexist, and if you would punch an adult but you wouldn't punch a baby, on some level you are a racist, and I accept that about the modern world, and I get that, and I'll embrace it. I'm okay with that. She's a baby. She's ignorant. She doesn't know any better. She's dumb. You have to save them from themselves.
This is how you save them.
We want to keep talking about how they have agency and listen, culture has fucking destroyed women. That can you just conceive of a time in Neanderthal love days. Just conceive of a time when the cave woman just stuck her chest out and went up to the caveman like that. And just think of time in the 20s. Like, we don't have to even go back, 100 years. Hey, fuck it, 1950. Get one of those 1950 housewives with like a beehive or that little, whatever haircuts they used to wear back then with the white gloves and the dresses and the apron. And just, can you imagine her getting in a dude's face with her hands out like that? Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? I don't speak Russian, but that was in there. It was like, what's up, bitch? Like, that was the energy. You can't imagine it. Like, women have been sold this culture now where they think they're men. They think there's virtue in the worst of masculine behavior, and you see it everywhere. And they're being encouraged to not be women. No. Fuck taking care of babies. Go to work. No, go to work. Be a CEO. What are you gonna do? And listen, men have been raping and pillaging the planet for far too long for profit. It's your turn. Do it like a man. It's like, wait, you're not going to get in charge and say, hey, let's be kinder and gentler.
Nope.
Let's get some of that female energy about how. No, I'm going to put on a pantsuit and I'm going to fucking bomb Libya because this is women empowerment. And it's like, no, it's just like when black people talk about white supremacy and they make white people God. White supremacy. You say it over and over and over. At some point, you're not identifying, you're just declaring it. White people are supreme. And that's basically what women have done with like masculinity. Like, in not so many words, you've basically said that this is the most virtuous thing to aspire to be. Like, all of the worst behaviors of men, as a woman, the way that I get power is to engage in it. So that's not enlightenment.
Which lesbians do it. There's an episode in Law and Order SVU where basically these women, there's three powerful women, three powerful CEOs, and they raped this male stripper, and nobody took the male stripper serious. But like, how did you get raped?
As they shouldn't.
To make the story short, right? To continue to make this a serious episode, they had to, in order to rape him, they had to knock him out and like shock him in the anus so his dick could get hard.
What?
Apparently this is a thing. And that's how he got raped.
So if you get tased up the ass, you get a boner?
Yeah. So basically, when women want power, they're eventually going to rape and pillage.
Tabasco on your prostate.
Right,
too.
because this
Something
is what
that
humans
shocks the
do.
system.
This is what humans do. They're not the softer sex. They're not like, that's not the truth of the matter. They have some differences, of course, but left to their own devices, humans do what humans do. So to Doobie's point here, I found something from the National Library of Medicine, examining the prevalence of reciprocal and non-reciprocal intimate partner violence. Okay, out of all relationships that have violence in it, half of those relationships were reciprocally violent, which means both people are hitting each other, which is basically just, that's the parameters of their relationship. They both whooping each other's ass, right? In non-reciprocally violent relationships, which means the violence is only in one direction, women were the perpetrators in more than 70% of the cases. 70% of the time in unidirectional violence in a relationship, the women are the perpetrator. Reciprocity was associated with more frequent. So here, regarding injury, men are more likely to inflict injury than women were. So even though 70% of the cases where there's unidirectional violence, women are the perpetrators, they weren't hurting the men as much as the men are hurting the women because they have brittle bird bones and they can't do that much damage. But that's beside the point. If this is what's happening when you don't hit them back, 70% of the time they're going to whoop your ass even more.
Right, but those people should be alone. I don't think you can fix them by fucking them up.
Yeah, you can. Like, well, not fix them, but you can stop them from trying to beat you up.
Well,
they'll go factory reset. Do we need to see that video one more time?
Listen, I'm not advocating for male
We're promoting
martyrdom.
for both sides to not touch each other.
Exactly.
Well, no, that's that's idealistic, but in reality, right? Like, in men and women abuse each other for different reasons. I do think we have a culture now that promotes it more, like women asserting themselves in masculine and violent ways, and because they haven't grown up with violent masculine rules, they really don't get how it works. They really don't understand it. And yeah, the factory reset is a wake-up call, but I'm a big believer in, I think your chivalrous duty, because it's trying times. It's
Okay.
difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult because there's so many factors working against you. There's so many broken people. There's so many double standards that are enabling this really bad behavior. But I'm not saying you should just sit there and take it. I'm a big believer in the restrainer method. Like, there is some value in grabbing a woman and forcing her down and restraining her in a very forceful way that doesn't hurt her, but lets her know, bitch, I am 58 times stronger than you. Like, there's no, if I want to beat your ass, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to respect that. Like, that's really what it is, right? You respect the fact that a man can beat the shit out of you, but you should never test it. You shouldn't be afraid of it.
That's when they're
You should respect it, right? But it needs, look, because here's the thing. Civilization hinges upon men giving women respect that nature doesn't empower them to have on their own. And what I mean by that is, nature made us to rape. It gave us the upper hand. We are way stronger. We are rape machines. The dick was designed for, I think, what, a rapier? It's a sword. It's a thin, long sword. Rape. We're made to rape. And I'm pretty sure, there's some controversy about Neanderthal courtship methods that we can get into at another time. But for by and large, we've pretty much accepted that in the animal kingdom, and a long time for human beings, because we're bigger and stronger, if we wanted something, we just took it. And that's how people were created, and that's how the world worked, and that's how still several species procreate to this very day. If you're strong enough to take it, it's yours, whether she wants it or not. I'm not advocating or promoting that. I'm saying that's biology. Biology set the playing field where it was way favorable to us. But at some point, we became enlightened and we said, just because we're big enough and strong enough to take it, there's something noble about giving women a choice. Like, she chooses what she wants. But that only comes at the condition when men are willing to use their violence in protection of women rather than against them. Right? So this is the turning point from being barbarous, marauding rapists to being enlightened, civilized people, and it extends to everything else. Like, even when we make moral arguments about how the U.S. fucks up other countries, what do we say? Well, just because you got bigger guns and bigger tanks and airplanes, you shouldn't be able to just go and take all the unobtainium, right? We make that moral argument all the time. We're big enough, we're strong enough to take it, but that shouldn't be the moral animus behind what justifies it.
But what if we? But what do we do if the people from that country finally get up enough ball bag to fly a couple of planes over here and start fucking shit up? Do we pat them on the head and send them back, or do we blow their asses up so they understand the consequences?
That's different. That's different, and I do agree. But also, what will you notice? There was no female hijackers.
Right.
I'm just saying.
That might have been the key to actually getting female hijackers. Like, nobody can hit them. We can't tackle them and fuck them up because they're women. See, that's what I'm saying. You can't create protected classes. What happens is, it was hilarious when the cat slaps the dog, right, and takes his bed. That's comedy. But if the dog grabs the cat and ragdolls it, then it's like, oh no, bad doggy. You never teach the cat to respect the power of the dog. You teach the dog to respect the daintiness and the fragility of the cat. But what does that turn the cat into? An absolute asshole who thinks it can do no wrong. I'm going to go slap this dog and take his food and shit.
Lex Luthor.
It's hilarious.
If we really want to get down to it, right? None of this shit is anybody's business. Like,
Right.
cause we're talking about an intimate relationship between a man and a woman, and shit can get complicated. Like
It's
that
nobody's
situation.
business, but it's what's the
This
rule?
is-
It's social
those
shit.
Wisest way to move.
But I don't understand why so many people had
But
an
I stay out of
opinion
people's
about
business.
Dana
though.
White, as we all should. But
Yeah,
because this
that's
thing
not
is
the first slap she gave him.
I'm sure,
I've done
and-
this before.
well,
I'm
no,
sure
no.
he's done that before too. But anyway.
But here's the thing. But I would expect both of them to lie to the public because guess what? It's none
course.
of our business.
Right.
Exactly.
They've been married
Right.
for 30
Exactly.
years. Hey, we've never done this before. This is I'm sure has happened several times. And you know what? They love each other. They've stayed married for 30 years. There's all these other things about their relationship that works for them, and they built a life together, a successful life together, and they're not going to throw it away because or tell on themselves because it's really none of the world's business. It happened to get put on camera, but the reality is when people are married and they have this deep connection and they rely on each other and they love each other, but also they express their emotions in ways that they probably would never. Like, I'm sure she's never gone and slapped anybody else like that.
You guys know about Blueface and his girl.
Oh
right?
yeah, they're constant. But see, you know what? That's acceptable already because everybody's seen them beating each other's ass so often. People
They were
accept
just
that
I
it's just what
want
they do.
something- There's something that's about to come out. I don't know if they put it out yet, but they were discussing about what happened, and they're basically saying she's crazy and she bought out a Hennessy bottle and she was holding it the other way around, like you about to smack somebody with it. So it's like that's not okay. But like that's why like men have to understand like you really have to work hard in finding a mature woman
Yeah,
to
of
be with
course.
for the rest of your life.
Somebody
'Cause,
who
like-
actually respects what's happening and
Yeah.
understands when one's violence. Again, I think that people can make their own decisions on how they want to interact with each other in their own relationships, but when it's public and people's have to insert their opinions, and now we got supposed to make judgments about it. The Young Turks are saying Dana White should be fired, he should lose his business, canceled, all of this shit. If that's the way they rock in their house, that's nobody's business, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But because
Yeah.
it's public and we have all of these goofy ass standards about how things are supposed to work, I think it's stupid personally to say that you can't hit a woman no matter what. Like I think it's just silly. It defies
It's dumb
logic.
regardless. It's
It-
dumb
yeah, it
regardless.
defies
It's just
logic.
just like you hit me, I can't hit you. It's
Right.
the same
Oh, but
thing.
that's a
No,
man.
I'm gonna hit you back.
Yeah, he has a
gonna
penis.
hit
You
you
can hit
back.
him, but women are weaker. Well, what if a little small weak man runs up to a bodybuilder and hits him? The bodybuilder picks him up,
What if
breaks
she
him
has a
over his
knife
knee.
in her hand and she's just wiggling around?
It doesn't matter.
And
That's-
again, it's different. And this is what I'm saying. I'm going into it acknowledging they're crazy and they
Benevolent
can't really
sexism.
hurt you.
Benevolent
And they
sexism.
can't, it is. There you go. I love that term. May it be added to the compendium. May it be so. But I believe in benevolent sexism. You're weaker. You're crazy. You can't contain your emotions. You don't know when to shut the fuck up. You want to argue about shit for 8 to 16 hours straight. You will provoke a fight. You'll take advantage of the fact that people aren't able to hit you back. But at the end of the day, I am responsible for your well-being. If we're in a relationship, I'm responsible for your well-being, and you're a danger to yourself, you're a danger to others. You can't do any real harm to me, but you're out of your fucking mind and you can't be reasoned with. So I've got to enact benevolent sexism.
Well, I have to say also, they can do some harm, right? They're not dainty little dangerous flowers. They will.
If they have weaponry.
Don't forget
That's
about
it.
the YouTube girl who killed the dude in Miami.
Right,
Black
they
guy,
can
remember?
fuck you up, bro. Like they can put, you
With
get
weapons.
caught.
She
With
said
weapons.
she said she tossed the knife. She said
Wow.
she tossed the knife.
Listen, it's
She
different.
said she
if listen,
tossed the knife.
if a chick comes at you, first of all, if a chick comes at you with a knife, and you're not in a relationship with her, you can absolutely knock the shit
Oh,
out
but
of
if you're in a relationship with
different.
her and she
You
comes,
have a
then
duty
what?
to retreat. You have a duty to retreat.
Yo, I
Listen, the
will
last guy
power
that
bomb
told
a
me he
bitch.
retreated, listen, RIP homie, because he gave me the Marcus Garvey book. RIP him. But the last guy that told me he retreated, he got shot and he was in a wheelchair the rest of his life.
Yeah, we're not playing these games,
Damn.
bro. We're past this point.
RIP homie.
We're past it. We're it's over. We're not doing this anymore. This is goofy shit. If you're lucky enough, as a woman who wants to reserve the right to be violent with a man, if you're lucky enough to get into a relationship with a man who thinks you should never hit a woman and all you're allowed to do is restrain her, what's happening is you're allowing her to be on a path to where one day she's going to run into a man who wants nothing more than to split a bitch's wig. We're talking about not a man who just is willing to defend himself, a man who wants nothing more than to slap down an unruly woman. So it's like telling a kid, again, back to the infantilizing of an adult woman.
We have to.
How long do you think you can tell a kid that he can fly before that shit can be a problem? You tell a kid when he's a baby, he's a 2-year-old, like, oh yeah, you can do anything, you can fly, you got superpowers. When he starts getting older and he's smart enough to climb onto the roof of the house or some shit like that, he jumps off the roof and breaks both his legs, you're going to be held accountable as a bad parent. Why are you telling this kid he can fly? Why are you not even telling him he can fly? Why are you allowing him to believe it? You're allowing her to believe that this matter of fact, chivalry don't have nothing to do with women. Okay? Chivalry is a code of conduct between knights. Other men with swords and armor who can kill each other. Right? This says the code of chivalry: to fear God and maintain the church, serve the liege and your lord, protect the weak and defenseless. That might have something to do with women. Give honor, live by honor and glory. Despise. It's goofy shit. Knight shit.
This didn't really start until Victorianism with the way females
Of course, it does say one
so
of them
chivalry,
says to respect and honor, to respect the honor of women, right? So that means if you see a man whooping on a woman, you go over there and you give him some comeuppance. Yo, you ain't supposed to do this. That don't mean,
hey, what you doing over there?
Yeah, that don't mean you let a woman whoop on you. She's already thrown away her honor by attacking a man. So she's already devoid of honor. So you're allowed to do whatever you need to do to teach her. And I think it's bad husbandry to allow a woman to think that initiating violence on a man is acceptable. Because eventually, I don't understand how it doesn't bleed out into other men. You only going to whoop your husband? So that means you don't respect me. If you're at the gas station and some dude say something wrong to you, are you going to slap him? Oh, no, I can't slap him. He's a stranger. He might fuck me up. Oh, so you're not crazy. Eventually, it's going to bleed out into other situations with other people, and every man she encounters is not going to have these same principles installed in his mind. Somebody's just going to give her a two-piece, and technically, that's your fault.
That's why I stayed single for years, because I refused to be with a woman who would start things with other men and expect me to be involved. Like, wait a minute.
No, that's crazy.
You didn't have to start that fight.
She's trying to get you killed.
Exactly.
I was downtown.
We have to debate this situation.
I was downtown St. Pete one time. We were standing outside of a bar after it closed. A guy walked by with his girlfriend. He came out of the bar next to the one we were standing in. They walk out of the bar. His girlfriend throws up in a garbage can outside of a bar. He's like patting her back while she's hurling into a garbage can. And I said, oh, party's over. And the people I was standing with started laughing. I didn't say anything disrespectful. I was just like, yeah, it's time to go home. Party's over. Your girlfriend's throwing up in a garbage can at 2:00 in the morning. Clearly the party's over. So they start walking down the street, and then they turn around and come back. The guy walks up to me. They both walked up, and then about 10 feet between us, the woman stopped, and the guy walked the rest of the way. And he walks, right, she sent him. He walks directly up to me. I'm standing with two other guys. He splits those two guys, walks directly up to me, and says, I think you owe my girlfriend an apology. I was like, what? Yeah, you were making jokes about her throwing up. I said, bro, she's throwing up in a garbage can in public. I just said party's over. Like, is the party not over? Like, it's time to go home, right? Yeah, but you were laughing at her and she's embarrassed. She wants you to apologize. And I said, oh, she wants me to apologize. I said, you know what, buddy? She doesn't love you. She's trying to get you killed. I told him straight to his face, she does not love you. She's trying to get you killed. Why would she send you over here to me to demand an apology when all I did was make a joke about her throwing up? She wants you dead. And he looked at me in the eyes for a second.
As we know from Hassan, that's a dangerous game to play.
Bro, she wanted to end her night by seeing you get your fucking teeth kicked out. Because that's what's about to happen. Like, if you keep pressing this issue, it's not going to go the way you want it to go. I'm not apologizing to her. Your move. And he stood there, he stared at me for a couple seconds, and he walked away.
Yeah, because he walked back and said he said sorry. And
probably, and you can have that. I ain't mad. I'm not mad. Take that. Whatever victory you need to take that doesn't end with your blood on the ground. Bro, it's all good. I ain't mad.
If I wanted pussy that night, or I wanted peace of mind that night, but I definitely saw that I had to end that relationship, I would have walked right up to you and I'm like, listen, I'm pretending I'm getting an apology.
Right.
I know that this drunk bitch is trying to get me killed.
Yep.
That was funny. It party's over.
Between you and me, that shit was funny as fuck, bro. Peace out. I'm out.
And that's all I said too. I didn't say, "Oh, look at this drunk bitch." Like, nothing that could even be misconstrued as disrespectful. I just go, "Oh, party's over," and that was it. And she walked
anything,
away.
That's jovial and like I'm laughing with you. I'm not laughing at you.
They walked away. She was on it. She was ready.
I'll tell you a story straight from PBOF. So the girl was telling us how, like, she had like super thugged out gangster homie. That's what he portrayed, right? Long story short, the neighbors got at it. She was walking her dog. The girlfriend of the neighbor said something crazy. The man hit the girl telling the story, right? And then the long story short, the boyfriend came. He didn't do anything. But that's when you fight for them.
Right.
Like,
if somebody just hits your girl, you know what?
Yeah.
Even if somebody, I cannot even understand. I don't totally agree, but I can understand if, you know, somebody says something crazy to your girl on the street, oh, look, bitch, or calls her a name. I could see you confronting them. I would advise against it in most, you know, circumstances. I would advise against it, but I understand. The point was, they walked away, and while they were walking away, she got a bug up her ass about it and was like, yeah, I don't like blah, 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 and turned around and made him come back and like directly pointed at me. He would have been better off just addressing all of us. Like, you guys were laughing at my girlfriend. Then it would have been like, oh, you know.
That would have been more laughs.
More laughs. But he came to, he was like, no, you said it.
Smart, man.
I want an apology from you. You owe her. First he said you owe her an apology. And I tried to explain, like, nah, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say anything bad. But when I heard him say she wants an apology, oh, she wants you dead. She's trying to get you killed, for sure. She doesn't love you, buddy.
And he understood that. He walked away and he was like, look, he apologized. Let's go. He understood it. That's exactly what he did. I'm telling you.
Hopefully he broke up with her.
It was like two men talking to each other. It's like, bro, I get it. He should have just told you the truth. I would have walked up. And be like, listen, bro, she mad, but don't worry about it. It was funny. Party's over. I'm going to walk back, said I did it.
You got that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's all you, fam. But yeah, she's that's a dangerous woman. That's a dangerous woman. She couldn't enact any violence on me. She knew she wasn't capable of it. So she kind of muscled her boyfriend into a situation where he could have got him. If we were three unreasonable thugs, we could have just kicked homie to sleep right there in front of the pub.
And we've all seen that. We've all seen those unreasonable thugs. Right. No reasoning at all.
Right.
Just walking up to them in a straight line.
Right.
But you know what? Because I think your statement wasn't, you know, with malice or hate, is probably why he felt comfortable. Like, oh, this was a good-natured jib.
Yeah, that's true.
Just joking. That's probably why he felt comfortable to come up to you. If it would have been like, oh, look at this sorry drunk bitch, and he probably would have been like, bitch, let's go home.
Right, you know they're crazy. They're psychos. Let's just leave. But he sensed that we weren't completely unreasonable. We weren't crazy. So he's like, maybe they'll understand reason. Even though that wasn't reason. That wasn't reason at all. That was completely out of line. He could have gotten himself hurt. It is.
What he should have done is told her, looked her right in the eyes and said, drunk bitch, get in the car.
Right.
Get in the car. You're drunk as fuck.
And that too, I would be
Absolutely
like,
right.
they were right.
Play the race card.
It's over, you throw
Just
it
be like,
up.
yo, that's a Negro. He'll kill us. Like, I'm not going over there.
Oh, see, I just assumed they were black. There was a white
No,
couple.
it was a white couple.
That's amazing.
It was a white couple coming out of an Irish pub in St. Pete, and she threw up in the garbage can. How do you expect nobody, like, you see people, anybody,
I remember those.
almost
Oh,
anybody
Jesus.
standing outside who witnessed that would have had something to say. They would have laughed or
Yeah.
pointed. Anybody would have said something. Why would you? Yeah, I told him, and I told him the best advice I could give him. She doesn't love you, buddy.
I'm
Get rid
pretty
of
sure
her.
he
It's
remembers
time
you
to
to
leave.
this day. You probably did give him. the best
No,
advice.
he's taking his Olin Mills with his new wife and his family, and he's very happy. And he's like, that guy put me on the trajectory for happiness. He saved my life.
You saved his life that day. I'm
Yeah,
telling you. You
yeah.
see what you said, like she don't love you. It blew. It's like I was like, man.
Yeah, dude, that changed my whole. Because at first I was just like, man, I didn't do anything wrong. When he said she wants an apology, I was like, oh yeah, she's trying to get you killed. Yeah, it just occurred to me instantly. Like, if she made you, there is no way in any. If we're walking down the street and somebody says something crazy about my lady, she would be like, don't go kill him, please. Let's just go home. She wouldn't be like, yo, you need to go handle that. She would never try to put me in a situation like that.
Listen, a good woman doesn't even tell you.
Right.
She doesn't tell you till you get home. Yeah, that group of unsavory gentlemen grabbed my ass when we were walking out.
Right.
I didn't tell you until we got home.
And then you get to freak out and beat your chest like a gorilla and be like, I would have ripped his head off. And she's like, I know, sweetie. I know.
Yeah, we
that's
know,
it.
we know. That's how you keep your man.
That's how you keep each other alive. You keep your man alive. He maintains his self-respect because he beat his chest a little bit when he found out. The reason she didn't tell you is because she probably knows you'll get busy. So she don't need you to prove anything. She knows you'll get busy.
Or she knows you're gonna lose your life.
One or the
Either
other.
way.
Yeah, either she knows you'll get busy or she
Right.
knows you're going to get killed because you're a chump. So, but either way. But the woman who actually walks you back and tries to get you to force an apology.
And sends you out.
Right.
Like packs you a lunch, pats you on the back and says,
Go
"They're
die.
over there.
Go
Go
die."
get my apology
Yeah.
or die trying."
Right. Right. She doesn't love you. I think I was accurate in my assessment. She does not love you.
1,000%. 1,000%.
That man
1,000%.
is fucking
So-
right now. Smoking
so
a
we're-
cigar. That man
so-
saved us.
So I think if we could coin the divergence of the philosophies here is I'm on benevolent misogyny,
Benevolent
and you're
sexism.
on benevolent sexism, and you are full equality.
Yes. Full equality.
Okay.
Because I understand the outcome. I understand what happens when you create protected classes. They're going to get out of control. Also, you're training her in a system that doesn't exist for every man that she's going to encounter. So there could
Right.
very likely that this road could lead her to a place where she gets hurt by somebody who's not just there to defend themselves from a woman, somebody who's like, I've been waiting all day to smack a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
This is what I'll say. It's one of those things where you're warning me about the dangers of high fructose corn syrup, and you've showed me all the scientific papers, and I can't disagree with you at all. The soundness of your argument is undeniable. I'm choosing to drink the Arizona iced tea anyway because the mango iced tea is delicious, but I can absolutely affirm the validity of what you're saying. I just choose to practice an antiquated brand of misogyny. I do think, the Sean Connery, I need to bring you to your senses, his
Factory
disposition.
resets.
I mean, it's
Chris
just
Tucker shakes him.
I just can't get with the,
Chris
they're petulant, unreasonable children sometimes, and you gotta
love it.
kind of look out for them, and you gotta kind of just be conscious of the fact.
For how
like,
long? For how long?
well,
though?
and listen, if and again, I'll draw this line in the sand. If you're in danger, all bets are off. If you're in but that situation with Dana White, he's not in danger.
Yeah.
You didn't need to pop her. And I do understand sometimes, like, and people don't recognize this either. Like, sometimes you'll do shit just off reaction. I think we've all done that where we've hit people off reaction. Like you've fucked with me to a point where, like, just on my senses, I feel in danger, or you could get slapped and without even thinking, it's just reactionary. You're gonna slap back, and I don't necessarily know that that's not what happened there. There is that impulse to protect yourself.
Yeah,
You know what I
natural,
mean?
completely natural.
Yeah.
Completely
Yeah.
natural. If somebody's going to slap you, and like I said, this is just a logical conclusion with the least amount of equations. You know what I'm saying? Nobody hit nobody. Okay, that's fine. Then you say, okay, even if she does hit you, you can't hit her back unless there's this, or if that, like, well, how big? What if she's a fucking 300-pound woman? What if? Oh, well, that's different. But it's too much math to do for the average human brain, and I think the women completely understand when privileges work in their favor. Not okay. Let me retract that. Humans understand when privileges work in their favor, and they will take full advantage of those privileges, and they will exploit them to the very end. And I think that creates bad character. I think it creates a lack of integrity. It creates a lack of responsibility and self-awareness. It's just all bad. It's
And those
all
people
bad.
don't deserve love. They
They
don't
don't.
deserve love, relationship, sex. You should be ostracized until you work that out, because
Right.
it's a really ugly characteristic. And I'm not saying there's a hard line. If ever you hit a woman, she needs to leave you. Well, if ever the dude cheats, she's gonna leave. You know what I mean? Like, it's we both sides, for depending on the situation, can get away with a lot. So I don't believe, like, in a hard fast rule. If ever this happens, then you leave. Some people can change, some people can reform, some people work through their trauma and their pain and they become better. Some people don't. And it's up to the two people to decide what they're going to put up with as they help each other unravel all of their psychological fuckery and trauma that's making them the pieces of shit that are slapping each other in public, right?
Right.
But it's it's a really, like, finding somebody that has your back and that you love and that you can build a life with. Like, that's hard enough in itself.
Yeah.
How many people have been married for 30 fucking years in this day and age? How many?
Both sides have to be ready, and both sides have to be mature. But that's why I tell motherfuckers, especially men, man, you got to really work on yourself before you run around looking for
Yeah.
men.
No,
And
both
it's
people do.
Yeah, it's
Both people
unprocessed.
do.
We gotta
Both
we gotta
people
call
do.
it what it
Yeah.
is. It's
Both people
unprocessed
do.
trauma, right? So if you have unprocessed trauma, it's gonna cause you to act out in certain ways, right? Men, women, regardless, it's gonna cause you to act out in certain ways. The problem is when you're not being, like I said, no self-awareness, lack of accountability. If you're not dealing with that, the person that you're with shouldn't really have to, unless they just want to, right? Maybe your partner's unprocessed trauma makes them feel like, okay, well, maybe it's okay if she kicks me in the balls every now and then, because I kind of deserve it. Back when we were young, I used to call her ugly, so now she kicks me in the balls. And if that's something, equation that y'all work out together, you will never in life hear me prying into your existence and be like, hey man, you shouldn't let her talk to you like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a word. It's not my business. The
Yeah.
problem is when we project it out into the greater society. We're projecting it out and saying that, well, men shouldn't do this and women shouldn't do that. You shouldn't never hit a woman no matter what. I'm like, maybe you should never hit your woman no matter what, because the rest of the world don't have to adhere to this shit, right? And then her opinions about men. I had conversations with women about this several times over the years, and they always maintain the same thing. No matter what, you should never hit a woman. And say, well, what about the women who hit men? Then the butts come out. They never hold women to that same standard. I've never heard a woman say,
Because the same reason you wouldn't hold a child to the same standard as an adult. You can't hold them to the same standard, and it's dumb to even.
God.
I'm kind of ashamed that you'd even have these conversations.
No, you're
with
right.
these
You're
women.
right.
There's
You're
no
right.
point.
Because I'm
Like,
assuming that they're logical.
Conversations are for men.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
That's who you have conversations with.
I'm assuming that they're all logical.
The chat says betatization through 1,000 concessions. Not too sure what that means.
Betatization.
Or
Oh,
betatization.
betatization.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
yep, through 1,000
Death
concessions.
by 1,000 cuts.
Yep,
Yeah.
death by 1,000 cuts. They keep backing you down and backing you down, and then next thing you know, you've shrunk yourself and softened yourself so much she has no respect for you, and she goes get railed out by a bad boy who'll slap her back. So you lose her anyway. You lose their interest anyway in the long run. I wasn't going to say this.
What's going on with Scottie Pippen's wife?
It's the truth. Women crave discipline. Men do too, to a degree. That's why some guys who don't know what to do with their life, they go to the military to get yelled at by a drill sergeant and shit. Like, you know, they feel good about it. When you was out here in the street, you was sleeping till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You was staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning. You was drinking. But now that you're in the military, you forced to wake up when you hear the bugle. You got to make your bed and make sure the corners are tight and all. And they thrive in that environment. It doesn't feel oppressive to them. They're like, good. I know if you don't give, again, to children, if you don't give discipline to children, they go crazy. Not because they want to go crazy. It's because they crave structure and they don't have it. Women crave discipline from their men. They'll give you shit tests. They'll talk shit to you and act funny style because they're not wanting you to back down off your square. What they want you to do is put your foot down and say, calm your goofy ass down. I'm not playing with you. And then she's going to grin and she's going to have what I call a pink wink. And if you're creative, you can figure out what that means. But that's what's going to happen. She's going to have a pink wink. She's going to be like, you know what? This is my man. Because I was acting silly and he told me to calm my goofy ass down. And now I'm going to make him a sandwich and I might give him a BJ later because he deserves it.
That's a respect. That's a respectable woman right there.
That's a respectable woman, not an out of control banshee. Some of them are out of control banshees and they don't deserve love and companionship until they're willing to fix their issues. But
because also too there is at some point too there's an agreement on the woman's part to come under your discipline.
Right.
Because she could, like you said, if she goes full banshee, she could continue to wild out, and that scenario ends up with you getting a domestic violence charge.
Yep.
Even if you didn't do shit. So that's why I'm saying, like, no hard and fast rules, but when you get the sense that this isn't, beyond reform, like you gotta cut rope before that inevitably becomes your fate. Especially if you live in a state where somebody has to go to jail. Because there's some states where once the cops show up, one of you's got to go to jail.
Right.
There's just no way around it.
Right.
Not if you break your finger and said she did it.
You still going to jail because the cops don't respect.
No. Now it's a situation where they have to pick and then they don't.
No, but they'll take her to jail then. Somebody's going to. If there's a domestic call,
if there's both that have injuries, it's either they both get locked up or nobody's getting locked up. If they
one person is always carted away. If the cops come to the scene,
listen, my brother.
I'm telling you,
you have to have the good talk game. I'm telling you,
listen,
you have to be the first one. You have to be the first one to the police.
Yeah, when the cops pull up, you got to run out of the house screaming with a torn T-shirt around your neck.
I promise you.
First one outside.
I promise you, my brother.
I broke my pinky. Look.
And did they take her to jail? Did they take a woman?
Listen, if the cops show up in the state of Florida and it's a domestic violence call, one person has to go. The best thing that can be done is one of you leaves before the cops get there. Because they cannot, because I think something happened in like the 1970s where somebody got shot after the cops left, so they passed the law. If they come to the house for a domestic violence charge, one person is being taken to jail at least for the night. They have to. It's a liability issue.
If you're not crazy, you as long as you end up leaving and not coming back, somebody cannot go to jail.
No, yeah, and I agree with what you said. Like that's the control that women have anyway, because they have to agree to be under the leadership, right? This is not something that you can force, and this is This is what Andrew Tate and these red pill guys don't seem to understand. They think it's some kind of forceful thing, dominance that you establish. But she has to be in agreement. And if she's not in agreement, this is a hostage situation. You know what I'm saying? And that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be wrapped up in nothing like that. That's not the place to be. If she agrees and she's allowing you to carry on this role, everybody's happy.
But sometimes dudes are stupid though, because they'll think, yeah, I'm ruling, I'm dominating, and really you're getting played, because a woman's power is in yielding. So she could go along with it like, oh yeah, absolutely, and the whole time she's transferring all your QuickBooks data. She knows where all the money is and all the accounts, and oh yeah, I got her under my thumb, and the whole time she's playing you. She's just nodding her head and smiling.
They're better plotters.
Yeah,
absolutely, because they're not good with confrontation. You know what I mean? Our culture is trying to masculinize them and make them think that they want that confrontation, but really they're just better on some sneaky shit. It's why women can cheat better than men.
It's the rape reversal. Remember in Game of Thrones when the guy sold the sister to Khal Drogo? He sold her, and he was just coming in her tent at night and beating it up and leaving. And eventually she was like, this can't be my life, bro. I can't just have you coming in my tent and slamming on me from behind every so often, and that's just how I exist. So one day she flipped it on him. She was like, no, how about you sit down and I ride you? And then he fell in love. Now
and then she was in charge of the whole fucking tribe.
And now she gets the keys to the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? It was a rape reversal. So I'm not just going to keep letting you do this to me. I'm going to put the work on you. And all it took was that one time. And he was like, my queen. She went from a sex slave to the queen because she played the long game. They know how to do it way better than men ever could.
Way better.
Way better.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Now, I got another clip here. And this is one of a woman who attacked a police officer. And this one I selected because to show you they really don't understand what's going on. This is not just a regular man, right? This is a cop, a huge black cop. And she's like this tiny little lady. And there was nothing. They're arresting the guy on attempted murder charges. So this is some serious shit. And she has no awareness in her mind of how easily this cop can put her down. And he could have, I mean, honestly, grown men
by the state to murder you.
Right.
If need.
Grown men get punched and land the wrong way, hit their head on the concrete and die. This happens to adult males. So for a young woman to put herself in this predicament, it just shows you the lack of awareness. And again, probably not her first rodeo, but that's just an assumption. But yeah, let me throw this up just so we can have another piece of evidence here.
This is the video posted to social media that shows a chaotic arrest that you see get even more chaotic.
Again, factory reset.
This woman enters the frame. Identified as 19-year-old Tamani Crum, she confronts an officer as he arrested a man Crum reportedly knows.
Okay, slapped him in the face.
Engages the officer, appearing to slap
pushed him.
And he responds with what looks like a wallop of a punch, causing her to fall backwards onto pavement. You see her get picked up off the ground and taken into custody.
And you going to jail.
Here is Crum's grandmother.
He knocked her out. He's no better than the people.
You hear him yelling, close fist. So what?
Crum's mother, who asked we
now
not
look at
use
this.
her
Look,
name
look.
and who did not
No
make any
tears.
public comments, sobbed as she stood
No
next to
tears.
the family's lawyer, Jamie Santana.
No tears. And she's standing there with a Bible of all things. I don't believe her.
Very shaken.
This your daughter. Your daughter's out in the street punching a cop over a suspected murderer, alleged murderer, and she's standing there with a Bible, fake crying.
Was approximately 3 times her body weight.
So why would she try to attack a man who was 3 times her body weight?
And size. This was unnecessary. And it's unacceptable. This has to stop.
The incident was on West 130.
Right. It does. You see what I'm saying? It's the way that people handle it afterwards. Nobody is saying, yeah, you can't be attacking cops in the street, lady. Nobody's saying that. It's just unacceptable and it has to stop. Another thing. This, the classic, I don't want to get too deep into it because it's going to start looking like I'm enjoying this. I'm not a schadenfreude guy. I don't enjoy epicaricacy, but people have to learn lessons. The social part of it is the problem. They've done social experiments where they have a man threatening and talking shit to a woman in the street. 50 people will run up and break it up, and don't you do that. They'll console the woman and say, you don't deserve this, you deserve better, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just a social experiment. But when you reverse the roles and the man's getting slapped upside the head and bullied, women laugh. They love it. People look on and like, oh, look at this doofus getting slapped around by a woman. How is that the reaction when if you reverse the roles, it's a travesty. It's an outrage. This is what you get when you don't teach women not to hit men, right here.
Idiot.
These guys are standing here with their hands behind their back getting verbally abused.
Life in them.
And she's saying they don't have no life in them.
Something you'll have absolutely no reaction. Okay. I guess I'm done over here. Thanks, guys.
She's mad because they won't engage with her. And again, this is what you're saying men are supposed to do. She's yelling, talking down to you. They're not engaging. They're not arguing back. They're just standing there taking it. And it's pissing her off that they're not engaging.
There's not one word coming out of their mouth.
Actually, the thing is that we don't want to talk with you, actually.
Why don't you go and f*** off then?
You go. How can you slap?
Now look at the men. Look at the men. Look at the men. They all ran over there and look, they're comforting her, beating the shit out of this dude.
You bastard! How did you hit her? I'll fuck your face right now! You fucking bastard!
Now how is that your response? You just watched her slap this man across the face because of what? How did he respond? She said, why don't you go and fuck off? And he said,
you go.
You go. With a quiet voice, you go. He didn't curse. He didn't say you fuck off, bitch. He just said you go. With the nicest, and she slaps him across the face. Nobody says a word. But when he retaliates,
India's not the problem here, though. What is even the point of this fucking game show?
Right.
I don't even understand like what they're.
The whole thing is lies because if the cameras weren't there, they'd be like, oh yeah, you should have never slapped them.
No. Those people who ran on camera.
Slow
that looks like the camera crew and shit.
That's the camera crew.
Like the
so that's not like no reality show shit. They were all outraged that he slapped that bitch back in real life. And this happens everywhere. This happens over and over and over and over.
This is when you mess with children.
But look, right. But look where he fucked up though. The other dude didn't have no problem, right? He didn't say shit. These bitches will try to rope you up into stupid arguments where it only ends badly for you.
Right.
You can't even engage them. And the same thing, you keep engaging the child, CPS eventually gets called. They're going to believe the kid. Sometimes you just have to ignore them. Children have to be ignored at some point. I just got to ignore you. I got to tune you out. And the other dude, he did it. He had a lady at home. He's already married with kids. He doesn't listen to that bitch or the children. Over and over, he's like, all right. I know the routine. I'm not gonna say shit. Let this bitch just tucker herself out, and then we can move on.
Right.
He chose to engage, and he said what we all knew, what the other dude was standing on.
Right.
Yeah, bitch. Actually, we just don't want to talk to you because you're a nasty cunt. We don't want to talk to you because you're a bitch.
Right. And she used that as an opportunity. Just think about the level of freedom and unawareness that she has to walk up to a grown man and go across his face like that.
Right.
And now think about in some countries, in the Middle East and some places in Africa, that slap might end up with you getting ran through by 4 or 5 men.
Hold up. No. You were raped by the outfit already.
Exactly.
You got a tube top on. Like you existed in other parts of the world. Right. You walking around dressed like that in other parts of the world. That's just like, oh no, we're supposed to rape her. We have to rape her now, right?
We got to fix her.
Look how she's dressed. We have to. It's Allah's will. We must do it.
I heard a comedian, Corey Holcomb, say something one time, and when he said it, it outraged me. But as it landed and settled, I was like, you know what? This is probably the smartest. I mean, I'm sorry. He said that it was a woman. He was talking about a woman MMA fighter, and they asked him, "Do you think you could beat her?" And he's like, "Who, this bitch?" It's like, "Yeah, can you beat this woman MMA fighter?" He said, "I'll beat her ass and then I'll rip her shorts off." And he didn't say that he would rape her. He just said he would rip her shorts off to put the fear of God in her. And I was like, you know what? That's probably the realest fear that any of them will ever feel. Right, because the violence is just the violence, but it's like you rip her shorts off. She's like, "Oh, shit just got real." Like, all right, bitch, don't play with me no more. You know where this gonna win.
Sex and violence.
Again,
sucks. We've been trying to civilize this beastly meat suit we're carrying around, and that's what it is: sex and violence. And we're the authors of this. For whatever, blame God, blame the fallen angels, blame the aliens, whatever you think. It is. Darwinism. We got engineered to kill and rape better than most. That's what we do. We kill and we rape. And the moment you want to enter into our arena, you're at a disadvantage. But I do still think the noble pursuit is that we cast off those impulses.
Benevolent sexism?
Benevolent sexism, yeah.
No, I get it. I agree. I agree with the sentiment, but we already have so much evidence of how humans in their current configuration, it's just going to be abused. Like I said, if we create a social rule, nobody can hit midgets. Next thing you know, we ain't got to worry about the Crips and Bloods no more. We just got to worry about dwarves and little people rolling around just snatching shit out of you. They just fuck you up, bro. They'll just wait for you to go shopping, and when you leave Walmart, they'll fucking take your cart and be like, "What you gonna do, bitch?"
Dude, we gotta redo the Wizard of Oz.
That's basically how Lord of the Rings happened.
Right.
There's got to be a
fuck with the dwarves, and they just grew with power.
Dude, there's got to be a Wizard of Oz reboot where the Emerald City is just it's all Section 8. There's fucking roaming gangs of the Lollipop Guild, and they're just running shit, and everything it's all dystopian and fucked up. And because of the social stigma of being physically abusive towards little people, they're running rampant, and they've destroyed everything. Destroyed everything. I would watch that reboot.
It happens, bro. I got one last one here, and this is the one that very few people complained about, and I'll let you decide why you think people didn't complain about it. This is the cops confronting a woman who was pretty violent.
Sizable.
Very sizable. The friend had...
The woman, Sharnesha Street, 43 years old, of Baltimore, is facing 2 counts of second-degree assault related to the incident.
Let me just say this too, and I'll tell you why. So because I've seen both of those cop videos before, and I love them both. It's a different situation. It's not a domestic situation between lovers. It's we're out and about. You're being detained or being directed by the authorities of the state. So I don't know if you're overthrowing the government or you're fleeing to Cuba. Whatever your plan is, right?
You're not gonna hit her.
You take it. You're so bold in your dude, right? You're so bold in your Atomic Blonde programming, and this shit telling you that you're Mrs. Marvel and you're the shit, and how dare people, that you're doing some shit that most dudes would be like, look, I'm bowing out. I'm bowing out when the officer is like, all right, we're done here. Most people are like, all right, I guess we're done. I'll fight it in court, whatever I got to do. But to pick up violence in that scenario, you've chosen to go against the same motherfuckers that killed Osama bin Laden, that toppled Libya, that brought down fucking empires all over the world. They have guns on them in front of you, and you're like, nah, fuck that. This is where I make my stand. This is where I start to show people these hands. At least her, she's got some size. The other cute bitch in the halter top or whatever, like she was 80 pounds hitting like both of those chicks deserve to get laid out. And I'm not gonna lie, I do feel some joy, and I do revel in the fact that they got
so you don't think a cop, even as a cop, he's a man, he should never hit a woman though?
Absolutely not. Cops are
So if you're a cop, but if you're in a relationship, then you
gotta benevolent sexism if you're in a relationship. But because the cop is authorized by the state to murder anybody that goes against the enforcement of the laws that we're all abiding by, that everybody except politicians are held accountable to, in the country that we reside. Like, they're in a unique position to do violence. They're authorized to do violence in ways that nobody else is. And if you've lived here your whole life, if you don't understand that yet, you get whatever you get, and I don't feel sorry for you. In those circumstances, I just don't. This, I'm gonna fucking fight the cops, is just the stupidest sentiment. It isn't the spook that sat by the door, the light poles are 100 yards away, so that's how you can measure it out when you're taking your sniper shots.
I have the car with me on my kids, because if I get pulled over, like the first thing I'm teaching you is don't say a motherfucking thing. And I've been in cars with other black people where they've made the mistake and they choose to argue with the police, and I'm like, you're getting mad at me.
That's always a bad
but
idea.
you're trying to negotiate. You're wrong.
Always a bad idea.
You're messing with that man's intelligence at this point.
We almost got arrested by a black cop that he had braces. Obviously, he had some shit to prove. But she starts arguing with her, and of course, I'm like, I'm very sorry, officer. She doesn't mean it. Please forgive me. Da da da. I'm completely bitching up to the officer, so the officer knows I'm not a threat. I don't want any problems. I'm willing to comply. Please forgive the fact that my wife is escalating this shit, because it's been programmed by TV and MSNBC. Fuck the police. How dare you pull us over? What are you pulling us over for? I'm gonna talk hella shit to you. And it's like, this is not an intelligent way to handle this. I just want to pragmatically solve this problem. What are we gonna do? We're gonna both go at the officer, take his gun, murder him, and flee, and live on the lam.
That's the dream.
What is the fucking play this chess out? Play this chess game out. What are we doing? Let me solve this. Shut the fuck up and stop arguing with this man. He obviously has a complex. He's obviously gonna be petty. Let him be petty. We can't win here.
Yeah.
Let's just solve it. But yeah.
Black guy writing tickets to two white people. Come on, man.
Don't make no sense. Don't make no sense.
Well,
but
she's black Puerto Rican. She looks black. She was darker than him. So I don't think there was any racial dynamic at play. I just think it was I'm a police officer. I feel like being a dick, and I'm gonna be a dick.
Yeah, it is what
I'm
it is.
fine with that. All right, be a dick. Cool. Am I getting locked up? No. You playing evidence on me? No. Cool. All right, well, I'm fine. Go ahead. Be a dick. Get it out of your system. Let me go about my way. I'm gonna go home because I got a lot of shit in my life that makes me happy. You're keeping me from the things that make me happy, and I'm not gonna jeopardize my happiness to prove a stupid fucking point. And if I know that as a man, and physically, mano a mano, I could have fucked him up. It person to person, right? But he's authorized by the state. But a little tiny 19-year-old girl that weighs 80 pounds, I'm gonna slap this giant officer, and I don't have to be here. He didn't pull her over. You know, she walked up to him.
Right.
And he was doing his job, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing a job. That's what you get. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's one of the best ways that they're going to learn. They're not going to learn in relationships where men pride themselves on taking the abuse. They're never going to learn. It's just going to make them worse. It's going to make them worse. Maybe best case scenario, they spend a long time together. They eventually get to the point where they can discuss their past traumas. They can start unpacking and unraveling shit, and they can get past the point where they're violent with each other. Unless that's just what they like. If they down with it, it's all good. That's how they deal with things. But if it's something that's a problem, then maybe they'll get to the point where they discuss it and figure it out and take violence off the table. But the more likely scenario is that it's going to continue and it'll keep escalating until eventually you're just going to have to let her know what's up. You're going to have to put,
I got
it might have to happen. It might have to happen.
I got a healthy compromise. Let's just send out the trans foot soldiers.
Oh, there we go.
Men who have cut their dicks off but still got those strong masculine skeletal structures and can fuck bitches up. Send out the trans soldiers.
Dial-a-trans?
With big fake titties, long fake hair, long acrylic nails, but have never forgot the mechanics of throwing a perfect right cross. Send them out there. And I think that's the healthy compromise for benevolent sexism.
You know what? You
Listen,
might be
when
right.
I see those videos of like gay men fighting a woman, I blame black women who do that, because y'all make them want to be your friends and they want to hang out, and now they call you bitch and you get mad, and then he thinks he's a woman but he's really a man, and now you get scared because you're fighting a man. So I'm like, it's an ugly circle.
Yeah, I think all domestic violence calls, when the cop shows that they should show up with a trans, what you call it, like the people who do the ride-alongs and shit.
Trans foot soldiers.
Yep, trans
Yeah.
foot soldier. And if the woman's getting wild and talking crazy, she could just come put hands on her for you, and just figure it out. She'll calm down, get a
And
factory reset going.
But she's not in a uniform.
No,
She is done up to the nines.
and she ready to whoop some ass. That might be the
fuck a
solve.
bitch up.
That might be the solve. But I mean, listen, I get it. You know, I think this went fairly well, because we do understand that one of us is just talking about a complete flat logical situation with very little nuance, and nuance is required to deal with a lot of the issues, the practical applications of shit these days. So I totally get applying a different set of nuance to different relationships. I'm all for it. I would never put my nose in anybody else's shit. It's just the social stigma that happens for it. I think people should change their minds when it comes to outwardly. I think if you see a woman abusing a man in public, you should have the same reaction as if you see a man abusing a woman in public. People should intervene, and people should not allow this type of violence to be taking place, no matter what the configuration of the violence is. If you got to think about who's who, well, it's the same reason, like, oh, a cop shot somebody. Well, was the cop black or white? Was the person they shot black or white? It's too much math. It's too much math. We just need to know if it was a good shoot or not. What was the person doing? Oh, he had a switchblade. He had just freaking digitally penetrated a woman and tried to steal some shit. Oh, okay, well, yeah, the cop shot him. It makes perfect sense. I don't need to know the color of the person who got shot, or the color of the cop for that matter. So eventually we'll figure this shit out. But this is what it's about. We have to mine through, intersexual violence absurdity to land somewhere on the practical mysticism of how to apply this shit and fix it. But I think it's getting fixed. One way or another, I think it might be getting fixed. Maybe a little bit of it's getting fixed by the men who just grab their women and whisper in their ear like, honey, we don't want to fight each other. Why don't you just let me rub your feet and make you a cup of tea? Maybe that's helping. And maybe, Dana White giving the slap back is helping a little bit too. Maybe she learned a slight lesson that night. I'm not sure. But hopefully
that's their business.
That's their business.
I'll never deny that some of these viral knockout videos are making people have cleaner and better souls.
Definitely. And speaking of viral videos, I think there's a viral video. It didn't go viral yet, but I want to do my part to help this story be told. This may be one of the greatest love stories ever told. This is the absurdity of this thing that people claim exists in these hoods. They talk about a code, a criminal code, this ghetto rules and regulations and shit like that. So I'm going to put up on the screen here. There's a brother by the name of Hassan Campbell, who is a pretty big YouTube sensation in the area of the internet that we call thug gossip. Now, not everybody knows it. Not everybody knows it is thug gossip, but that's what we call it, thug gossip. It's a very, very lucrative area of the internet that we're actually trying to dip our toes into a little bit. If we could ever care long enough to actually make videos about it. But this is one thing. This was just too good to pass up. So I'm gonna stop it a few times just to make sure we get in the full context of everything. But please, I just want people to understand.
He's vicious.
Yeah, he's vicious. He's vicious. But I did send him a message about getting him on the show. So we're gonna see. We'll see what happens. But this is Hassan Campbell explaining some things that he had taken issue with recently.
Here's the reality. I don't want to see Troy Ave go to jail. But the fact of the matter is, he got caught with 3 guns. Ain't did a day in jail. Tax Stone, on the other hand, copped up to 10 years for that gun. Troy Ave has the power to throw salt on that case where he raises reasonable doubt where he could be home and Tax Stone could be home.
Okay.
Keep in mind, a man died. A man died, by the way.
So what we're talking about here is a rapper by the name of Troy Ave and an internet personality by the name of Taxstone. They had a bunch of altercations. They ended up shooting at each other in public on camera at a place called Irving Plaza in New York.
All on video.
All on video.
All on video.
Troy Ave actually got shot, and we didn't know at the time what the parameters were, but Troy Ave got shot in the leg, wrestled the person who had the gun, took the gun from him, followed him through the club, and shot back at him with his own gun later on. Yep. A person did die, which was like a bodyguard or security guard or something like that.
Basically his brother.
Got killed, like right?
Deeper than rap shit.
What he's saying, what Hassan Campbell is saying here, is that Troy Ave has the power to cast reasonable doubt on the case and get Taxstone out of jail. Taxstone took a plea deal to do 10 years for the gun. He's doing 10 years right now in jail. He thinks the person that Taxstone shot should help get him out of jail. Now, just for context, this is Taxstone explaining how he got shot in the face. Taxstone is blind in one eye because he got shot in the face, and this is the words coming out of his own mouth.
I always tell people, don't bully nobody because, you know, you push a person to be that scared. And like this dude, I actually seen him 2 nights before I smacked him, and I was in front of his building because I had friends who lived in his building. So I seen him, and I said, yo, my nigga, you said something about me being pussy or whatever? And he was like what? Like looking confused, and I spit on him.
Okay. So he's talking about a guy who he's been bullying for a really long time. He saw him outside hanging out, just started some shit with him for no reason, and he spit on him.
And it was a lady behind him. I didn't know it was his mother. And she was like, oh my God, like what's going on? And I kind of felt bad, but it was like, I already did it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was like, whatever.
Spit on a man in front of his mother.
He kept it pushing, went in the building. Like 2 days later, I seen him going in the building. I bust a U-turn, jumped out the car on him.
So you see this guy that you just spit on in front of his mother for no reason 2 days earlier. You see him walking down the street and he's going inside of the building, and you do a U-turn, park your car, and go run up on this dude just because you happen to just catch sight of him for no other reason.
The matter of factness of this interview is what I loved about it. No need to give any kind of explanation or context. Like, he tells the story as this almost like he expects you to be like, oh, well, you had to. Of course, you saw him.
Yeah, you saw him. You got him. You spot him, got him.
Gotcha.
He was putting the key in the door, and I walked up behind him. I slapped him mad hard, and then I put him in a fiend. I was choking him out. So, like, he was, like, on his knees on his way down, and, like, I didn't even see the gun. I just felt the boom. You know what I mean? I didn't even see it.
So you basically were choking him out.
Yeah.
And he pulled the gun out.
Yeah, he pulled it.
So he's choking this guy out. The guy pulls the gun out. Make a long story short, he pulls the gun out and he shoots him in the face. He loses, he's blind in one eye. After he shot Taxstone in the face, Taxstone pulled out a gun and started firing blindly. He hit the mother of a person he went to school with and a little girl, right, in his blind firing. And while he's in his blind firing, he hits the mother and a little girl. Neither one of them testified against him. And in Tax's words, he said, shout out to them for holding it down. This motherfucker who was bullying somebody for no reason, blind firing, hits a little girl and somebody's mother, and they don't testify against him because, it's hood politics. Nah, it's all good. That's the homie Taxstone. So this is who he's talking about, who's in jail for 10 years, and the rapper who got shot.
Did the same thing in the internet. Who's bullying.
Right. The rapper who got shot should help get him out of jail by Hassan Campbell's standards. So let's move on with this wonderful story of hood politics.
Instead, he's trying to bury Taxstone.
Tax already copped to the gun, so he ain't really trying to bury him. He is buried.
About some real nigga shit.
Real nigga shit.
Hassan Campbell was in Bronx River, right? Standing outside on the block. And my boy Wilson's father, Vic Wilson, got into an argument with this Latino brother that just came home from jail. Dogs come to find out he was in jail for bodying somebody else from Bronx River. He just came home.
So came home from a murder charge. Why, I don't know. But he's standing outside in front of the building, and Hassan Campbell, you got territorial shit going on. This is real nigga shit. That's what he said.
So now he's talking trash
at his best
to my man's father. And I'm standing right there. Right? So he looked at me and said, yo, what you looking at? Matter of fact, get from in front of the building. I said, what? Who you talking to? I'm talking to you. So, how I said, I went to hit him. I was about to turn his TV off. Police pulled up on the sidewalk. The first they pulled up in front of the building. I slid back in my pants. Grabbed my bike. And tried to ride off. I was riding a little kid bike, mountain bike. Police pulled up on the sidewalk, hit their lights because they saw me. Duke that I backed out on, jumped in front of the car to give me enough time to ride off where the police couldn't hit me with the car. So the same dude that I was about to air out blocked the police so they couldn't lock me up, and I had a chance so I could dip through the projects and they couldn't catch me.
Okay. So we've already established on this show as part of the compendium of ethics that criminality is actually latent homosexuality. The people who are out here in the world committing these crimes, what they're trying to do is get to a place where they can be themselves. And the one place they know they can be themselves is jail. So he just told a story about almost murdering somebody in cold blood for no reason. And the response of the person that he almost killed a few seconds later, because the cops was about to arrest him, was to put himself in front of the cop car so that he couldn't be apprehended and arrested. Because it's more important to let this man who was about to kill me for no reason stay free. Why? I have my own theory, but I'm going to let Hassan wrap it up and tell you why he thinks this happened.
Because when it's real like that, we don't want to see our enemies go to jail. Unless you out here robbing the senior citizens or shooting little kids and stuff like that, or you a rapist and stuff like that, we don't want to see our brothers go to jail.
Yeah.
Right. So just there's no consistency. Even if we shoot little kids, Taxstone shot a little kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, no, but that was a different territory, sir. This is Bronx River.
Oh, okay. I think that was in Brooklyn or something. Maybe they got different rules in Brooklyn.
Different rules in different boroughs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to see our enemies go to jail.
And I'll defend Hassan because there's a lot of things about Hassan Campbell that I do like. I do think he says a lot of positive shit. He does do a big part of the accountability piece, which seems to be missing from every mainstream conversation. So I have a lot of love for his work, and I would even say I don't even think he's necessarily saying that this is virtuous.
Oh no, he is.
Maybe he is.
This was him.
I'm choosing to hear it as him just saying, "Hey, this is what it was."
No,
I'm
he's
not,
saying
because it's psychotic shit. That the rationale is we need to be left free so we could eventually murder each other,
right,
and possibly get some little kids caught in the crossfire.
Right.
This is a virtuous thing that must be allowed to happen.
That person to go to jail.
But that was the point.
We can't go to the police.
No, but you kill the other one. The other one's gonna get caught and go to jail.
Maybe.
But
he'll be right back out.
But they may choose not to testify. If nobody testifies, he's not going to jail.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, just let the criminals go out and continue shooting.
Because he was saying that Troy Ave could get Taxstone out of jail, and then they could just kill each other. They could settle it on the street. But to leave him in jail is like, it's not real nigga shit. There's a lack of manhood. There's a lack of realness. You know what I mean? You're supposed to throw salt on the case, as he said, cast reasonable doubt so he can get released, and then y'all can settle it like men. which is either shoot each other or fall in love. Because I personally think when he pulled out his gun on that guy, I think the guy fell in love. He said, this man was about to murder me for nothing. I've never been infatuated with a person as deeply as I am infatuated with him in this moment. He almost killed me. So when he saw them cops coming, he was like, yo, this dude could go to jail for 10 years for what he just did. So I'm going to block him. I'm going to block the cop car. Hassan gets away running through the projects on his bike, which I'm sure that man saw in slow motion with the fuzzy edges, like when, you see the girl at the dance across the room.
Girls too.
Right before you ask her to dance, it's all slow motion. You hear your favorite song, Bet Your By Golly Wows, in the background or something like that. I think that's what happened. I think they fell in love in that moment, and he wanted to preserve Hassan's freedom.
Oh shit!
So that maybe
I've seen this movie before. Daddy, no, I love him.
Right. So I think that's what it was. That I can't understand the mentality of a person who would save you from the cops right after he just tried to kill you for no reason. Other than
no reason.
I love this man. And I may never love anybody as deeply as I love him right now. And I can't see him go to jail because I don't know when he'll get out. At least if I let him get away, I might see him in the projects again. Maybe we might catch each other, you know what I mean? Either we kill each other or we, have some intimate conversations and share a cup of tea or something like that. That's some wild shit.
Right? And I just want to point out for like all of the well-intentioned liberals who want to defend like the hood culture, like you can't defend that. Like this is the madness and the lack of coherent sound thinking that you're defending. Like it's not something like we romanticize like this code and this ethic, and it's not there. Like it's just crazy shit. This is like you have to be a certain degree crazy. First of all, just the fact of what the fuck are you looking at? You talking to me? Yeah, I have to murder you now.
Yeah, I gotta kill you.
Your life is over. Over. No people in a functional civilization that have something to live for, that are happy, that are of a sound mind. If you're out in front of the Best Buy and somebody in the front is like, what the fuck you looking at? Oh, I'm sorry. And you go into the building and you buy whatever the fuck you were gonna buy and you leave. I don't think anybody happy or reasonable is engaged. Like you would just think, oh, this person is a psychopath. Like you must be a psycho. It's like, I have to engage you. And then just to bring it on some, because I know what it is, it's on some honor shit. But there's no honor in any of that. There's no honor.
And it is so, my problem with it is that you can tell by how he tells these stories and how a lot of these guys tell these stories, they still feel empowered by it.
It's romanticized.
It's exactly. It's just pretty fucking romantic. They don't tell these stories.
Tell these stories. You could see like the glisten in their eye. Like Tony Ayo does it.
They love it.
Like, oh man, back in the, and then he has to catch himself. But I'm not promoting none of this.
Right.
But it's just like
they love it
going back and
because it's so intertwined with who they think they are, their character, the work they put in. That no matter what, when he says in these videos, we got to do something for the youth, or we got to do this, and why he forgets that when he tells these stories, he's still glowing, like it's perfect. And when somebody tests or test his morality, or test whether or not he's really part of the code of the streets, and if he's a real G or not, he doesn't say I donate to charity, I talk to the youth. He doesn't say I feed the homeless. He say I went to jail for murder, son. Like,
I'm out here getting busy.
I'm putting in real work. Like, so this is still your calling card to why you should be respected. It's pretty ridiculous. But this is thug gossip. So I guess covering it, there's an angle to cover it from.
To prove how much it's all bullshit, right? So let's go back to the YSL case. The guy, the manager of them, said YSL is not a gang. He's basically a square, right? I forgot his name, the black dude. He said they're not a gang. Went to the court, said they're not a gang. Everybody a part of YSL, all the thugs, everybody who's street hood certified, have all basically turned around and said this is a gang.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to say.
Activity.
That's what they're supposed to say. What we going to say it's not a gang and all the shit we've been talking is just, no, it's not music, because then that would mean we were lying, and then we lose our street credibility. And if we lose our street credibility and we still go to jail, you know what the deal is then. It's a wrap. The only thing we have in our favor is that we can say that we were hardcore criminals and we actually did all that shit.
Shout out to Gunna Tell, by the way.
Yeah, he's smart.
Is dropping. His career is dying though.
Hey,
his career is dying.
But he won't spend the next 20 years in jail.
Yeah, which is true. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate either way, but it's true.
Got him, keep him.
Yeah.
Got him, keep him.
Got him, keep him.
I ain't mad at one bit. I say more snitching. That's what I typed in the comments of that live video on Hassan's channel the other day. I said snitches are doing the Lord's work. We need more snitches. Get the criminals out of this culture. They're fighting over who should be interviewed on the podcast because of who was a snitch or who what. I don't give a shit about none of that. I think if you snitched on criminals, you helped the culture. You helped the quote unquote community. I don't believe there is a black community, but you helped. You did more in your snitching than you ever did in your commission of those crimes.
And if you continue to let this thuggery run amok, it's just like not checking women, because this is all emotional shit.
Yeah.
Thugs are emotional high T women. You know, how can he clap? How can he clap? Everybody looks at it like, how are you just clapping people for no reason? How could you do this? What is the point of this? Everyone else is looking on in bewilderment, but I guess, you know what? I'm officially changing my position. You've won me over today.
Beautiful.
Seeing the analogy between unchecked thugonomic feminism, I don't think benevolent sexism is sufficient anymore. Enabling women to be thugs, this is the end of it.
Yeah.
Eventually women just start pulling up on dudes and saying, what the fuck you looking at, and start getting ready to murder people.
Absolutely. Because these men are, you're right, they're an extension of the single mothers, the masculine single mothers who've been in the hood for the last 50 years. They're an extension of those women. They can't control their emotions. They're extremely violent because they don't expect anybody to be violent back with them. They can't deal with, this is what they are. If
you don't believe us, Tupac is a perfect example.
This is what they are in essence. You know, at the bottom line, like you said, they're high T women with some unprocessed trauma, but they're just able to do much more damage than women ever could.
Right. They don't have brittle bird bones. If these women, if the How Can She Slap girl didn't have brittle bird bones and was in Bronx River and had firearms,
there it is. Go. Right there. You got it right there. So this is why you got to stop them in their tracks. You gotta stop them in their tracks. The best thing you can do for them. Won. See, they're beautiful. See, and this is how it works. No names were called. There were no ad hominem attacks. None of that. We sifted everything out. We dealt through the absurdity, and we reached common ground. And that's all we've ever been trying to do on this show. Sometimes people are going to be offended at the images, at the words that we use. Sometimes people are going to be angry, but you have to be willing to be angry, to be offended, to offend other people. You got to be willing to take it and give it both directions if you're sure that both people are looking for a solution. If you're not sure both people are looking for a solution, you're just playing a game. If you're going on Twitter and you're a libertarian and you're talking shit about why men shouldn't be cutting their penises off and cutting gashes between their legs and calling it a vagina, you're just playing a game, because the people who are doing that are not looking for any solidarity with you.
That would make you more of a man if you chop your dick off and make it to a vagina. I'm just saying.
Yeah, a woman would never do that. A woman would never
go through that pain.
You're more of a man now.
The manliest thing you can do is saw your dick off. See, the absurdity always eats itself. It always eats itself. Always. And the most feminine thing that you can do as an empowered woman is serve your man in silence.
That's a confusing stick-up. Like, to prove how hard you are, you pull the pistol out. I will murder you right now. I will cut my dick off and shove it up into some viscous innards and make it a pussy. Say I won't. Damn, he's serious. He's crazy.
Nah, he crazy. Leave him alone, yo. Leave him alone. I ain't even that crazy. I was just going to shoot you. That's what they're doing. They're finding ways. They can't penetrate men in the way they really want to. So they find other ways. They get a white supremacist phallic symbol, which is the gun, and they use these tiny little penises to penetrate you, which are the bullets. This is what they're doing. This is just simulated sex, and sex and violence is synonymous in the cave mind. It's the same thing. There's no difference. You know what I mean? So Stanley Kubrick taught us that. That's just what it is. This is how they process things. The sex and the violence come from the same part of the brain for the cave mind.
Called it shooting the club up for a reason.
Right, shooting the club up. The bang bang, you want to bang? Yes. That's the same sound that they use for bombs. It's so sex and violence is synonymous. So if you're out here committing violent crimes against other men, we know what you're doing, bro. You can be yourself. You don't have to kill people. You can just tell a man you think he's hot and you want to kiss him in the mouth. You don't got to shoot him.
Stop destroying the neighborhood. You can be gay in these streets. You do not have to go to prison to be who you are. The revelation that thuggery, criminality is latent homosexuality, it's the key to unlocking all of this.
It is.
You're not going to fix it with programs. You're not going to be able to start businesses. You're not getting to the underlying issue. You're not getting to the underlying, and until people can just accept their gayness and live it out, it's nonstop. It's nonstop murdering, and because there's no other way that you can explain. I'm going to throw my body in front of this cop car so this man who was about to murder me can get away.
Other than preserving an opportunity to see him again. I need to see him again. Yeah, I need.
He might try to kill me again, but we're gonna make eye contact.
Or maybe he'll give me sexual agony
for him to still remember it and talk about it. He remembered the bike, remember the whole detail. Yeah. He had the prop ready. Like it had to be a special.
He loves him. There's more to that story. He's just not going to tell it on YouTube. Yeah. There's more to that story. But I think that, and also let me make this clear: we despise the criminality more than we do the homosexuality. Absolutely. I'm not saying criminality is homosexuality to say anything bad about. What the bad part is the wanton, unapologetic thuggery. That's the bad part. I would rather y'all two just take your shirts off and wrestle in the privacy of your own home, because that's really what you want. When a man steps on your foot at the club and you want to start a fight, what you're really looking for is man-on-man contact. Male contact, yeah. Join a fight club. Take your shirt off and wrestle in the grimy basement with other men. If that stops if that lowers the murder rate, I'm down for it, bro. I don't want to go. I don't want to be there, but go fight. Chicago, Detroit, you need a fight club. Old Block, these guys 2 blocks down, we gonna shoot them, we gonna kill them. Y'all need shirtless fight clubs.
That could be monopolized.
I guarantee. No, we don't want to monetize it yet because that's just pimping. Then we're gonna be Andrew Tate's. We all want to do those sex trafficking.
I'm just saying, though, if it saves the hood,
it will. It will save the hood.
I'd rather that be monopolized than motherfuckers shooting each other for just looking at them and really some love.
What neighborhood would you rather live? Would you rather live in a neighborhood where you knew 80% of the apartments you shared there was gay orgies going in? But you go outside and the streets are clean and nobody's getting murdered.
Your grandmother's not going to get shot on the way to the grocery store.
Your business is your business. I don't care.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But if you live in a neighborhood where babies are getting popped in strollers and there's stray bullets and nobody wants to testify because of hood politics, but nobody can be themselves and be gay, I mean, I would absolutely live in the building with gay orgies nonstop. You just not going to hit anybody with a stray in those types of shootouts.
I guarantee you the gay orgy projects are safer than the Crips versus the Bloods projects. Because these guys are going to be spent. They're not going to have any energy to be out here bullying people and shooting each other. They're going to be banging each other, smoking weed, and watching movies together. Everybody's happy.
Each other's hair.
They're braiding each other's hair. Everybody's going to be happy.
Which they do in jail.
Of course, because that's what they went to jail for. Young
Thug go to court with braided hair. Right. Not a woman doing
that. We don't have to put forth any more proofs that criminality is latent homosexuality.
It is.
The entire prison culture. Everybody gave Lil Nas X all of that flack for, I forget the name of the song with the Kanye
all of them.
No, the one where he was in prison.
He was in jail. Yeah, that would set everybody off.
Yeah.
That would set everybody off.
But I was just like, yo, but he's just telling you the truth.
Right.
This is the most honest piece of thugged out hip hop art that's come along in decades. Nothing is more authentic than this.
Nothing.
This is what you're murdering you're trying to end up here.
Right. To make it look like a mistake.
Right.
If you could just walk
I had no choice.
You know what? Prison should allow walk-ins. You shouldn't have.
There should
to
be just like
caught.
a glass. There should just be like a glass window. Just like
you should just be able to sign yourself in. You should just be able to sign yourself in. That way, instead of shooting and murdering each other till you get caught, you could just be like, "Fuck it, I'm going to jail, bro."
I'm gonna do a jail retreat for a week.
Yeah, a prison
retreat.
Take a week
off work and go to prison.
A prison retreat. Why do you think they call it scared straight? They ain't scared. You're gonna keep you out of here.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Yeah, scare you straight.
Damn, dude, it's all there. You staying out of jail, we're gonna scare you straight.
Because if you come in here, ain't no more straight.
How do they scare you straight? How do they scare you straight?
Because because if you come in here, ain't no more straight.
Man on man rape culture.
Right. So they want to make sure that they want to make sure that only people who are down for the rape are coming. It's like, damn, you get raped in prison? I definitely don't want to go.
Billy,
not me. I'm still selling drugs.
You're my bitch. You would be my bitch.
And they love it. They respect it. They understand the game. They know that this is the way it works. If you come in here,
can we play the Chris Tucker?
Well, I mean, everybody knows, bro. They've been sagging their pants. They've been fucking they've been trying to tell you this whole time. Like, we want to be in close quarters, close proximity with other aggressive, no women, just aggressive, violent sexually
men.
Frustrated men.
The bros.
Who don't do anything but push-ups all day long, that are chiseled.
That's college.
And making swords. They work out and make swords all day long.
Yeah, that's all they want to do is bang each other and kill each other. And I'm not opposed to it. If all you're going to do on the street is commit crimes and make other people's lives miserable,
you should be locked up in a cage.
Yeah.
Long. That's more power to you.
The only thing I would say is that, of course, again, the greatest think tank ever assembled, we solved the problem of there shouldn't be a guy who didn't pay his child support in the same cell with a guy who's murdered 5 people. Like, you shouldn't have to deal with that. That's like, I think they put him in there like, that's like housing mice in the same place you house boa constrictors. You just feeding them. That's not how this is supposed to work.
That's basically what you're doing.
Dante's Correctional Facility fixes all that. We have different tiers for different levels of criminals. The people who just fucking around, you stole some shit. You go on tier 2. You a rapist and a murderer, you go on tier 7. Now you down here with nothing but other rapists and murderers. Eventually you get to a point where we don't even have to feed you anymore because you forfeited your humanity, which I think should be a thing. You should be able to, your forfeit of humanity should be real. We don't got to feed you. We could just drop you off on the island.
Nobody cares about you.
Nobody cares. You've done enough. You've done enough for us to not even consider you human anymore. Now you're just fodder for the reality show that people like to watch called Walrus Island. We just drop you off once every few months. We airdrop a crate of fucking graham crackers, and that's all y'all walrus. Get. Yeah, fresh new walrus and some graham crackers.
Not even. Because basically, because at that point, because when you have a facility where each tier is sponsored by a major corporation, to where we can now have cheap prison labor, stop shipping that shit overseas. AT&T customer service, T-Mobile customer service, that's tier 3. You pay, sponsor the tier, you're in your little cell, people are working from home, you got a little workstation. Yeah, you're in prison, but you're doing customer service for T-Mobile for pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. And you say, well, what else were they doing? And you say, well, prison labor was so... Listen, the shit that you're referring to is when they used to have them out breaking rocks in the sun and building shit until they died. Right. This is different. You're doing customer service. Get the fuck out of here. You should be able to do it for pennies on the dollar. And you know what? What's the number one complaint? I can't get a job when I get outside. Guess what? You did a 5-year internship for T-Mobile.
Right.
They're aware of your work product.
Right.
They'd be happy to hire you. This guy always shows up on time.
But if you're the guy who in South Philly went to jail for a triple murder, did 10 years or whatever it was, you got out of jail, and a month after you get out of jail, you do a quadruple murder. I don't think we need to bother putting you back in this. No, we put him on.
He would have never made it out though.
Exactly.
He wouldn't have showed up to his T-Mobile job every day.
No.
He would have kept going down the tiers. He would eventually been on the Amazon warehouse level on tier 6, and he wouldn't have been able to hold that job, and he would have kept on fighting and fucking around till eventually he got to level 9, the Walrus extraction level, and there's no getting out. But it helps promote the people that can be rehabilitated will naturally go to eventually you get to tier 1, the OnlyFans level, where you got conjugal visits available. You'll eventually get there. But if not, if you keep with the fuckery, we're just giving you what you want. And eventually what you're saying, this shit that you guys call civilization that's making all this shit possible, I have no desire to play by its rules. I want nothing to do with it. And instead of paying for you for the rest of your fucking life, we say, you know what? We'll give you what you want. You don't want to be under the fetters of this civilization. We'll put you on an island with 24-hour militaristic surveillance at all times, so there can be no escapes.
Pay-per-view.
And just start over. Build your own civilization if you want. But you've obviously told us all of these years of human history and science and economics and all of these things that we've done to make humans as efficient and as comfortable as we can. You aren't interested in all of that. Cool. Operate outside of it. You're on your own. We'll drop a new walrus in there every 90 days. Only the best of the best. And you guys can see if you're able to build your own civil. We ain't dropping shit on the island. There's trees, there's coconuts. They'll figure it out.
There's grubs and shit.
They'll
Y'all
figure it out.
Yeah. You find your own Zuzus and Wham Whams. Well, and I just want to play a quick clip of this because this is what these guys are fighting. Now, you out in the world, you got all kinds of food and resources. You got women everywhere. You got places you can go. You can go to Busch Gardens and shit. You can go ride rides at Great Event. There's so much you can do. But they're working overtime to get to this place.
The hustling party is because people don't have any money. This is how the game works. I ain't got no means of money. I got a box full of candy back there. Cookies, Zuzus, and Wham Whams is what they call it. I'm gonna loan it to another inmate. I'll let you get a pack of cookies for 2 packs back next week. If a man borrows too much stuff, it gets too far in debt. Either you fight for it and let him know I'm not gonna pay you, so me and you just gonna have to whoop each other's ass and we're gonna go to lockup, or we're gonna go back here and fuck, just ever how you wanna do it. That's the way it works. He might have borrowed 10 suits and ended up fucking out his ass the rest of his life while he's here on account of 10 suits. Got him that way.
So rather than being free in the world,
10 ramen soups that you get at Walmart
10
can get you ass raped.
Now, how much do 10 ramen soups cost at Walmart right now? Probably about
$2.
Less than $2. Yeah, about $2.
Yeah, it's like
less than $2.
It's like $1.50.
They're really pennies a pack.
They're really low. Really low.
Right. So 10 soups, the rest of your life you get raped because you couldn't pay it back. Now, do you think
that is a flimsy? You want to be fucked.
You wanted this.
Right. This is the most flimsy excuse. I don't know where I'm going to come up with the money for these soups.
And,
that was the pretense. Nobody's turned out for 10 ramen noodles. Nobody.
Bro, all you had to do was ask, buddy. All you had to do was say, "Let's go around the corner."
This is without the drugs. So they're in prison. They're drug free. So there's no crack involved. There's nothing. This is sane people.
No, but they're creating the situation to be who they want to be. Again, when they were out in the street, they were shooting people for no reason so they could get to jail. Now that they're in jail, they still got to, you can't just cannonball into the deep end of the pool. You got to stick your toe in first. So what's the easiest way to get raped around here? Borrow some ramen noodles. Well, here I go. I guess I'm going to go borrow tea and soups, some Zuzus and Wham Whams. This is what they wanted the whole time.
Oh. Dude, there's no other explanation.
It took me 3 days to know the jail system was not for me. 3 days.
Nah, dude. It took me watching a movie called An Innocent Man.
No, but I'm saying though, like getting in trouble, getting locked up, going through it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna get in trouble no more. I'm gonna be a responsible citizen.
Yeah, cause you're not gay.
Like
if you
I'm
were,
not
it
gonna
was
get
okay.
these
But if you were
tickets,
struggling
I'm
with
not-
it,
like,
listen. If you were gay and you were struggling to come to terms with it, you would have kept doing crime. That's all there is to it.
Right. But you're a straight man who happens to like vagina, so you know what? I'm not going to jail. I don't think I like this.
Me up with all these dudes where I can't get access to vagina. I'm out. I'm gonna be on the straight and narrow. The people who are like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna keep doing it. They want what they want.
And I ain't mad at them. Just go get it without killing people. Bro, listen.
That's all we're asking.
That's all it took. I watched a movie with Tom Selleck called An Innocent Man when I was young. That might have been my first real prison movie. And Tom Selleck went to jail. Well, actually the cops set him up. They came in his house, they were looking for somebody, and he was like taking a shower and shit, so he had a hairdryer in his hand. So the cops came in his house, they saw the hairdryer and they shot him. And they knew they fucked up, so they planted the gun on him and shit like that, and they sent him to jail. And of course, when he gets to jail, there's sexually frustrated Negroes there, and it was just a bad time. It was not a good time. This is a regular guy just trying to live his life, and he ends up having to deal with sexually frustrated Negroes. Nobody wants to be there. They don't want to beat you up. I mean, they only want to beat you up to tenderize you, but you know where this is going. This is going to a bad place. Everybody has known this since, okay, I watched Cool Hand Luke back in the day when I was young. That's a prison movie, but there was no trace of rape in that prison movie. There was sexual frustration. There's a whole scene where the woman's washing her car, the soapy woman and shit like that, and they're like, oh my God. So they was all watching this soapy lady wash the car, but none of them were trying to rape each other. But for some reason, in these other movies, like, what was it?
They were raping in that Morgan Freeman movie, and they ended up being in love together in Mexico.
Well, I don't know if hey, they were just good friends.
That's what it insinuated for me.
They were just good friends. Yeah, this dude right here he had his shirt tied around, he had a little short ass shirt on. Like, why are you walking around here like that, bro? Yeah, it's no good. It's definitely not a good time. Anybody who's doing criminal shit out here today, and you know what's on we know how this ends, right? You're either gonna get yourself killed or you're going to the place where the rape happens.
Whenever I see black men with like half shirts, I can't take you serious.
He's like, I don't want to have to fully undress when the shit goes down, so I'm just gonna wear half my clothes anyway. It'll just be quicker. It'll be a lot quicker.
Like, what is the point of it?
Nah, dude, because we ain't got a whole lot of time. The guards are gonna be coming, bro. So I don't need like mad layers of clothes.
Motherfuckers do that at the gym too. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Same thing.
Football practice. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, all that shit's weird to me, bro. All that shit's weird to me. But I say send the criminals where they want to be. And hip hop community, the quote unquote black community, y'all need to get off this homosexuality is bad stuff. I mean, it's been here for a very long time. You've been avoiding the obvious. You've been avoiding the obvious, even in the mafia, right? You look at the shit that they were talking about in The Sopranos, when they found out their boy was giving somebody a BJ. It was like, oh wait, he was giving a BJ,
was their biggest,
and not giving
the biggest earner, and they still killed him.
And they were mad because he was giving a BJ rather than receiving it.
Yeah,
that was the bad part for them.
And even when he's in therapy, and it's like, oh, it's a little different in prison. Like, yeah. he was clearly, there was clearly an understanding. Like, no, people not in prison go through periods of time where they can't get any ass, and they just jerk off.
Right.
You can jerk off.
Like, nah.
You don't have to fuck a man. Like, because if you wouldn't make that decision out, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, Tim, I haven't been able to get any pussy lately. You think you could help me out, bro? No problem, dog. I'll come right over. I got you, bro. Like, who does that for their friend? Nobody.
Yeah. Somebody in The Sopranos almost committed a murder because somebody leaked a secret that he eats his girl's box.
Oh yeah.
The uncle,
the old man, Junior.
Yeah, they found out his girl told other people that he eats the box. All the rest of the women was like, what? And then they started talking.
Can't be an all-time underboss and eating pussy.
Right. He slapped didn't he slap her in the face and broke up with her?
Yeah.
Right. So that tells you right there. You know what these guys are. It's more criminality. We know what this is. They just need man-on-man action. That's all they need. It'll fix them right up. Then they get out of jail. They freak out. They do more crime so they can go back. They want to be themselves. And I'm just saying, to the black community, to the hip-hop community, let these people be themselves. It'll lower the murder rate. They can stop killing. They can just start stroking. Everybody will be happy. Murder rate goes down. You don't got to get shot on the way to the grocery store. Your baby don't got to get shot in a stroller outside the McDonald's. None of this stuff happens if you just allow them to be who they want to be. It doesn't take owing somebody zuzus and wham whams for you to get what you need. Trust me. You don't have to threaten to kill a guy so he can fall in love with you. It doesn't have to be that way. We can do better. We've evolved. We've moved a long way in humanity. We can do better.
Amen.
But I think our last stop we're gonna make today is gonna be a quick one because
can we all agree Andrew Tate's bullshit?
I don't like Andrew Tate, but I don't think he's guilty of anything. I don't care what's come out so far. This I don't think you'll be able to change my mind about. I don't think he's guilty of shit.
That's a pretty bold statement, man.
How many wives right now? How many wives or girlfriends right now don't have access to their own finances? This is not an uncommon thing.
Yeah, but
if we're gonna start criminalizing that,
things he's saying, and he's not realizing what he's saying. He's saying
people talk.
They're at home and they're not allowed to go out. Like
my wife ain't allowed to do certain shit too.
No. Okay, the worst part of it is that the coercion and getting them to do sex work under false pretenses. That's the part where he fucked up at. That's what's considered sex trafficking, right?
Okay, hold on. Okay. Is it illegal to lie about your job to get pussy?
They're trying to make it illegal in some places, but right now it's not.
This is something as old as courtship. People misrepresenting things. Those aren't your eyelashes. They're lies.
Look, this is
we all lie about what we do and how we look and how we're built and what we're worth. Men and women who want to get dicks and pussies from one another misrepresent who they are and what they have in order to get what they want. This is just an accepted part of courtship. To start regulating that part of interpersonal relationships and criminalizing it it's impossible. It's impossible. People will have to go to prison immediately. There's potentially millions of illegal relationships on the planet right now, if not billions.
Okay. All right. Tell me if you think there's a difference between these two things. If you meet a woman and you pretend to be a little taller than you are, you pretend to have more money than you actually have, you talk some good game, and she has sex with you, right? The other one is you tell a woman that you love her and you need her to do something for you, and when she flies to your country, you confiscate her passport and you put her in a house with 20 other women who are all selling pussy on a webcam all day, and now she's a sex worker who doesn't have access to her passport. You're taking her money that she makes, you're only giving her a small portion, and you're lying on your taxes about how much you take from her, and this is an actual business model that he's admitted to structuring, tricking women into thinking that he loves them so he can get them to a foreign country, take their passport from them, not allow them to leave or go out of the house, make them do sex work, and keep most of the money that they're making from the sex work.
Okay, let me tell you where I'm at with this. This is from the same people who told me there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, that there was Russian collusion, that the vaccine was safe and effective. I don't believe anything. Once you run afoul of the intelligence agencies, once you run afoul of big tech, which is an extension of the intelligence agencies, I don't believe any of the fucking charges coming down the pike. Was he on camera talking big shit? Abso-fucking-lutely. Does that mean that's what actually happened?
It was his mixtape.
But
it's the thing he's saying.
Right.
Listen, but okay, but people can get on and say I was playing a character, I was talking big shit. A part of the appeal sometimes of a lot of these YouTubers is they're talking wild shit that didn't actually happen, but they're talking it like it really did. So what I'm saying is, if he did, okay, and that's how they make fucking sugarcane in the Dominican Republic. They tell Haitians like, hey, come on over. They take their passports. They're like, you're cutting sugarcane until the end of the time. There's nothing you can do. If you take someone's passport to where they're actually trapped, yes, you've committed a crime. You've kidnapped someone. I agree with that. Just because he said that on camera on his mixtape, where now this is the Young Thug or YSL or whatever the fuck Rico charges, he's dug his own pit. That doesn't mean it actually happened. What I'm waiting for is, where is the actual evidence that this happened? Because yes, people talk shit and manipulate. Because then how many bitches are going to prison for getting their credit card payments made on false pretenses, getting their fucking rent paid, getting their fucking car payments paid, getting jewelry and new outfits, but it's on false pretenses. If he was just getting women
to send him money, it'd be different. These women aren't holding men hostage and forcing them to pay the bills. They may be promising them box. They might be promising them box, but they're not holding their physical bodies hostage. Again, Andrew Tate says some shit. Like if I made a mixtape about how many murders I committed and how much drugs I flipped, which people do. If somebody wanted to look into that and start following me and get corroborating evidence and all that, it would be extremely difficult if I wasn't doing any of that shit. You'd have a long way to go to connect the shit I'm talking on my mixtape to real world events. But if I say I'm selling 50 pounds of heroin, but I'm only dabbling in 5 pounds, it might be easy for you to send some fucking charges down the pipeline. So he might be talking a big game, but he's doing something, because if he wasn't sex trafficking nobody,
and he's even said,
that's what I'm about to show you right now.
I used to do some things in the past that I can't talk about.
Bro, listen.
So hold on. It's right now, there's a chick who knows the child that's being raised by this dude does not belong to him.
True.
She knows it.
True.
And he's going to continue to go to work every day, pay for her, pay for that child, and that bitch is never going to prison.
You know why?
And we don't get involved.
You know why?
This is the thing, though. We
benevolent
all agree,
sexism.
Right? We all
That's why.
All right. That's nice. Well played, sir.
Yes. That's what it is, because at the end of the day, like we know that like he has a stable of women who choose to live that lifestyle. Clearly, a pimp wouldn't be a pimp if there wasn't women that chose to live that lifestyle.
But what I'm saying is,
men, that's like, I don't want to live like this. Let her go.
But men and women in relationships lie to each other, use each other. Money is involved. This is just a part of man-woman sexual relationships. They're not all righteous. They're not all built on truth and trust and partnership. Some of it is built on deceit and how do I use this person, and manipulation and exploitation and coercion, right? But right? That doesn't mean that it's criminal.
Right. Well, let's listen to the lawyer talk about it. This is lawyer. This is his channel called CLR Bruce Rivers.
Dog got stop snuff self snitching hat. Get the fuck out of here.
Right? Yeah, he's bugging. He's supposed to do more self snitching. Yeah, keep talking.
Words. What he says.
Found this little webcam thing. I text all my girlfriends. They're all coming here to live with me and work with me. All 5 flew in. This bitch. I'm like, she's my girlfriend. She's my girlfriend. She's my girl. You're all my chicks, and you're gonna stay here, and we're gonna make some money. 3 left, 2 stayed, and we started this little webcam business from my apartment. Got to the point where at one point,
hold on, pause it. 3 left, 2 stayed.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
Bitches were not trapped. Okay,
right. That's how it started.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Let's go.
And she got too drunk one day and she threw up in my apartment. I told her to clean up. She refused to clean up. Started being an idiot. So I took her stuff, threw out the window. If all the other girls see me be disrespected, they're gonna lose respect for me. Fact. I didn't want to fire her, which is more reason why I had to fire her ass. Got her shit out the window. So throw it out the window. Got her by her 2 arms and marched her out the door. Locked the door. Texted me, "You owe me my last month's wages. I ain't paying you nothing." She went to the police and told the police I hit her.
This is how it starts. This is how law enforcement involvement with him starts.
5 in the morning, 4 months later, and I heard the door, boom, boom, and I heard police. There's a few things I can't say in the podcast. I've lived a varied life.
That is a form of self-snitching. That indicates that there's things out there that are illegal that he's done.
I've done some things when I had to pay the bill. What's this gonna be? So I flush my phone down the toilet quickly. Boom.
So I destroy evidence.
So the point is here, if the more you listen to him talk, the more he builds a case against himself, because the first group of women, he says he told them straight up. Later on, he says this was part of his niche. He would get them to fall in love with me and get them to come to the country. And then once they were here, he said he would bring a girl who already works for him to convince her. He wouldn't do the convincing. He would get another girl to do the convince. And this is already established. This is pimp shit. This is already established as something called the lover boy method, where you get the girl to like you, and then you get other girls to pull her deeper into the game. And then again, once her passport is confiscated and she don't have access to her own money, she is effectively a sex slave. She's not being prostituted, and that's the only reason that it started off so soft and took so long, because she's not being physically prostituted in a brothel. It's webcam shit, you know, so which makes it a little bit easier to manipulate.
But to be fair, hold on before you. Yeah, but real quick though on this though, with him being on Fresh and Fit, which I really don't understand the appeal of those guys. I just really don't.
It's red pill bullshit. It's just a bunch of people who can't get pussy who like listen.
But I get what. Okay, if he really I destroy Evan. But people also talk shit. They get videos with rented fucking vehicles. They fake cash that they got stacked up. People pretend and put on a show, and you don't know what's real and you don't know what's fake. And there's nothing to say. There's nothing to disprove or there's no way of knowing that this isn't exactly what that is he's just trying to shine on this podcast. He's trying to act like he's a little more cool and mysterious and badass than he really is. Like, look, dude, I had to pay the bills, so there's some stuff I can't talk about. I had to flush for it. And really,
that's exactly what he's doing. But if the evidence is against him, though, like if you're talking about, if you can be this character the whole time and then now you get caught.
That's what I'm saying. Produce the actual.
It's Schrodinger's N-word. That's what's going on.
Yeah, it's Schrodinger's criminal. It's Schrodinger's criminal. Yeah. Like we got to see what happens, because if they don't have no evidence, they just don't have no evidence.
Because at the end of the day, we have to just wait till all this shit is rolled over, then we can talk it over again. I'll
tell you too. Another thing that I think fucked him over is that he was talking about how corrupt the government and officials are in Romania.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah, that was dumb.
He said if I go to jail,
go to a third world country and be like, yeah, these niggas, he's got to pay them.
Yeah, he said if I go to jail, I'll just go in there with a stack of money and I'll, get rid of the charges. And if Romania is trying to do some real business, if they're trying to be taken seriously on the world stage, you take somebody who's saying this shit openly and you go, okay, look, this is a rich guy who said we were corrupt and we actually locked his ass up. You know what I'm saying? So I think that has more to do with it than. Because this is a big job. This is a big thing in a lot of these places. People do the sex trafficking. They take women's This is nothing new. He didn't invent this shit. He just spoke really loudly about it. And a lot of times you might be right. A lot of the people who talk that loud are not as deeply involved as they claim to be. But if the authorities have, not only if they have, if you are involved at all, you may not be the big fish, but if you're involved at all, they can make an example of you. They can seize all your assets, so that brings some money and some recognition in, and they don't actually run afoul of the big guys who can fucking put money on your head as a politician and have you killed. And you're probably doing them a favor by getting this big mouth motherfucker off the set. So this works multi-dimensionally. This works out for the Romanian authorities to make an example out of Andrew Tate. How actually guilty he is, we may never know, but he definitely put himself in a position to get fucked.
His main issue was he was taking first world girls to a third world country. If
Yeah,
he was
you
just
don't
doing
do
his
that.
third world women, he would have been going on clean all for
And shutting
10,
up
30
about it.
years. And
But
yeah,
again,
you know what I'm saying?
that's good.
But he's
Talk
taking
loud.
first world girls, and
talk loud,
I mean,
bro.
he's a scummy dude. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending any of his behavior. I think
like, he's hella scummy. Like, you could just
I don't understand his appeal. Like, everybody that defends him, like, oh, and he's all about alpha energy. And
There's
like,
some truth.
Look,
There's some truth, but it's extremely exaggerated.
But
and
listen,
it's
being a man is taking care of a woman and raising children to be productive adults. That's being a man. Like, the notion that you're somehow more masculine because your talk game is so precise that you're getting bitches to abandon healthy, happy lifestyles so they can go finger pop themselves so that you can become rich. Like, I don't respect that. Like, there's no glory or honor in that. So, like, all the
call
people
it what
that,
it is. Just be like, yo, this is how you pimp bitches, and this is how you got to do it. Like, call it what it is. When you're sitting there making it like, yo, it's masculine energy. I'm the man, and this is how it goes.
No, but he did. But he talks like that it's pimping. I think he's used that.
Yeah,
those
definitely,
words.
definitely. He did more self-snitching than most people do.
But yeah.
So don't get me wrong. I'm not defending him because I'm an Andrew Tate fan, because I like him or like what he does. I just do not trust the system
are not high enough.
at all. I know this motherfucker made fun of Greta Thunberg. I know he made fun of big tech. I know he ran afoul of all of the corrupt cave devils that run all of this shit. So that's why I just don't believe. I don't believe, like, I just don't believe it. I believe that he gave them enough rope that they're going to be able to hang him with it. But, I mean, I just don't know if because my understanding is he's already incredibly wealthy.
Yeah, the webcam thing is what got him going. Look, he was broke.
That's what made him money?
Yes, he did the webcam thing. That's how he started the whole thing. And then he decided, let me put this energy on the internet.
Yeah.
So then he got people together to repost his videos, right? And then he made those people get money, which I respect.
I thought he was like a world-class kickboxer or something.
Yeah, he's a kickboxer. He's like this regular kickboxer dude, but you don't make money in the fighting world. You can't like fuck bitches and like you have to like just be like
He made most of his money from the webcam shit. He said he had 75 women working in 4 different locations, and then he said from there, once he got into the internet thing, he started like this masculinity academy shit and started selling it to dudes. But as he's selling it to dudes, he's not just telling them, work out and learn game. He's like, fuck these bitches. You gotta fuck. He started talking crazy about women too.
They're supposed to be your slave.
Right.
Crazy.
Some of that's in here. He started talking real crazy.
If he ever decides to testify.
With all these chicks just stuck in their house, sitting there bored, and of course they don't go out. They're not allowed out.
So I got all these chicks. They're in love with me. They don't go out. They're not allowed out. Restricting somebody of their movement is part of force, fraud, or coercion.
You stay in the house. You don't go nowhere. You're not, no restaurant, no club, nothing.
You get to
and
eat.
this is the stuff.
Hold on. One more second. I just noticed that he's got the stop self-snitching hat. That is just fucking great.
Yeah, as a lawyer.
The chat says, y'all really don't understand the appeal of Fresh and Fit. And then for Andrew Tate, his father was a grandmaster chess champion, and Emery Tate.
Listen,
I can't imagine that. That's very lucrative either.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I understand Fresh and Fit's appeal because, like I said, a lot of stuff they talk about is objectively observable shit that's happening in the politics between men and women. The problem is when you cut everything super dry like that and you tell these dudes, fuck these bitches, son, they're not going to respect you till you get rich. And then once you get rich, what Fresh and Fit is not being honest about is they still don't respect you after you get the money either. That's why son is still paying for box. And he admitted it. He's on those websites seeking arrangements and shit like that. He's down to pay bitches five grand a month or whatever just to hang out and give him vaginal access. But he's telling men, become your best self and earn it. He's not earning it. He's paying for it because they still don't respect him, because he's bitter. He's a jerk to women. He's an asshole. He hates them. And there are some broken, traumatized women who are attracted to that type of behavior. So if all he wants to do with his life is buy pussy, then he's successful. But if you're looking for a way to create a meaningful relationship with somebody, that's not your guy. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. The first time I saw those dudes and their energy and the shit they were talking, I was like, yo, this is corny. Is anybody falling for this? Like, I sized those dudes. I'm like, these are not dudes that know how to go out and just pull women. They're just not. Like, I picked that up right away. And then the more I heard them, I'm like, this just feels like bashing women. Like, I know this shit that's
one is a Middle Eastern man who was apparently
like an FBI agent.
Right, he was with the FBI.
And then the other dude was a married man from the Caribbean.
And right, see, so something right here is Spartan Existence says watching 304s, which is hoes, watching hoes get dunked on is entertaining as hell. It is, and that's the entirety of the message. Dunking on hoes. It's not about real improvement. It's not about real yeah, they just, and that's what it is. Because think about how sad it is to create a lifestyle and a revenue stream off the people you hate the most. Their show exists because they get to bring on the women that they despise the most. They're in Miami. They're bringing on OnlyFans models, chicks with their ass out on Instagram.
Yeah,
terrible, and they're winning by doing that. You're surrounding yourself with the people you despise every night just for material. But when every now and then he gets dunked on too. Like he's trying to barter sex with women to bring them on the show. Why are you still trying to smash hoes though? Like what's the point?
All I know,
exactly. He want to tell you how to be a wife, but he's smashing hoes. Like that makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I didn't see too many. I tend not to have an opinion about DJ Academics. It's just like I'm just indifferent. But the time I saw him on that, I saw a clip from him being on that show. It was just the worst. It's almost like that energy just brings out the worst in people. I never seen him behave so terribly. Like it's I don't know. It's just a nasty show.
It's pain, like bro. It's pain. That's just the truth of the matter. These guys, they're not happy.
That they do to educate people to make money, but that's what was that's the bread and butter. So when they started off, they're like, yo, we gotta like pimp the game. We're not like
and I don't blame them at all.
It is what it is.
I don't blame them at all.
To make it seem like these guys are saying anything intelligent, we really have to have a debate on that.
No, my main focus, my main thing that I'm gonna say about it, and I'm gonna leave it alone, is that they're playing a game, and when I say a game, I mean these are not the rules to objective reality. It's a separate game. When you live in places like Miami, LA, shit like that, there's a separate game that's going on. If the average regular guy who's just living his life looking for a meaningful relationship with a woman, if he employs the tactics that Fresh and Fit are teaching, he's gonna disgust and repulse every woman that he comes in contact with. This is not the way you build something like that. If all you want is vaginal access, these are your guys. They're going to tell you.
We got a book coming out, Gorilla Pimping. So if that's the lifestyle you want to live,
these are your guys. If that's what you want.
Gorilla Pimping.
If you think you'll be happy for the rest of your life just making enough money to afford to buy women for the month, then go for it. Listen to them dudes, follow them shit step by step, because it'll probably get you pretty far with a certain, bracket of women, a certain tier of women. Because the shit they're saying is pretty true. The shit they're saying is pretty true.
Kids, house, backyard. We got another book coming, The Diary of the Caveman, the Neanderthal Courtship.
Yeah, Neanderthal Courtship will get you where you got to go. But yeah, so, they have a place. They have a firm place that they've created for themselves. You can't deny the success rate, how many views they get consistently. The proof is there. The proof is there. Yeah. They're saying shit that men want to hear, and they're talking to women who can't defend the standards that they have for the men that they're seeking. You know what I'm saying? So it's a perfect storm. It works absolutely perfectly. I'm just saying that's a game separate from the objective reality that most people are going to experience with each other. It just is. Yeah, okay. So, but if you're out at the dating apps and all that, like, it's some weird shit going on out here, and it's a lot that I personally don't know about. I can't really speak to that world because I just don't know about it. I'm a complete square. And I admit it. I'm a complete square. I've never been on no dating apps. I don't know how people treating each other. So they're having a different experience than a lot of other people are having. But it does sound awesome to listen to a woman say, I want a man who's 8 feet tall and makes $1 million a month. And he says, well, what do you have to offer? And she goes, I'm pretty. Yeah, dunk on this bitch, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a stupid ass conversation. You know, I 100% agree with him. But I'm just saying that that's not really the world. If you watch that and you take that out into the world thinking that this is how things just really are, you're probably going to repulse a lot of women who could have been, you know, potential people who you could grow a decent relationship with, if that's what you want. If you just want to make money, wear Rolexes, and bang Miami hookers, definitely listen to Fresh and Fit as much as possible. I don't know what else to say. That's just how I feel about it.
Chat said it's about understanding the reality of current globalized dating market. I don't agree with that, because you don't have to choose to live that lifestyle. You could be like, that bitch is crazy, and find a more mature person.
Yeah, find people that turn all that shit off.
Right.
Like there's people that see the shallowness of all of this social media shit, and they don't want any part of it. There are women who don't fuck with it at all, who don't see the value in it. And I don't know. I always suggest try to find some religious girls. Even if you're not religious, at least you're dealing with somebody who has some sort of inclination to kind of shun the direction that the world is going, and has some sort of moral compass that they're trying to put themselves under some sort of discipline. But if you're dealing with people that are just complete NPCs, hey, culture, what's valuable? What should be the most important thing to me? Yeah, I couldn't imagine people trying to date or find somebody in there. Like, I really think you're better off completely detaching rather than trying to play the game that they're lining up or laying out. Find somebody that's not into that shit either.
Yeah, I think I will figure it out. I think we owe, you know, the audience, maybe we should get into some of their videos sometime soon, and maybe grab a few clips and kind of really look at some of the shit that they're talking about, and offering a real, like a premise that we've been able to craft an idea and a real response to the shit, because it is something huge. A lot of people are going through serious shit when it comes to dating and the dating market and the dating apps and all of that shit. There's a world out there that we really don't know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's worth it to actually take a closer look at it all and offer a real opinion about it. So I'm definitely down to do that in the near future. So if that's something that people are interested in, of course, a little bit in the chat, leave some comments and shit like that, and we'll get into it, man. I just think that I've had a different experience than a lot of people are having right now. I've been with my lady since I was 19 years old. You know, I'm over 40 now. It's been a long time, and I just haven't had that experience. The world changed a lot around that time. You know, we didn't have dating apps and Facebook and all that shit when we met, and it's probably, me and my wife have talked about it. If all that shit was available when we met, we may not have made it, because when you give humans a lot of choices, they find it a lot more difficult to be happy with the choice they make. If you say you can choose between A, B, and C, and you pick B, there's a high chance that you're going to be happy with picking B. But if you get to choose between 1 and 200, and you pick number 17, you could spend the rest of your life thinking about, oh, well, 45 was kind of cool too. I should have took 67. It's like, it's a lot more difficult to be happy with your choice when you got a lot more choices to choose from. So I think that's probably a lot of what's going on out here. And of course, the delusion of men and women. I think men are delusional. If you're meeting women and the first thing you ask them is, are they submissive? You're probably fucking up the game. And if a woman meets a man and she says, how much do you make and shit, you probably fucking up the game too. There's a lot of this shit that's destroying relationships on both sides. A lot of people have a lot of expectations about what other people should be doing and what you deserve, and all of that shit is garbage. It's all garbage. People are not really cultivating character. I think somebody talked about this. I don't remember what show it was, but I'll find a clip soon. They were talking about how for a long time, all you had to do was earn a paycheck as a man, and that almost guaranteed you that somebody would, marry you and move in and be your partner because you had a paycheck. And women have almost never really had to cultivate personality if they were attractive, because I've already earned my way in. What do you mean? You like me already. I don't have to be interesting. I don't have to carry a conversation or none of that. So all of these things are coming to a head. They're coming to a crossroads right now where men have to be more than just be like, look at my Rolex, bitch, come and get it. Like, that ain't going to work. It may not work for you. Working out may not just be the end all be all for attraction and long-term relationships. Same thing with women. Like, just because you're cute right now doesn't mean that somebody's going to take you seriously and respect you. So there's a lot that humans have to learn about interaction, and the internet and all these dating apps and all this choice may not be the best thing for long-term relationships, but that also doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Everything's evolving. Traditional relationships are evolving. Gender roles are evolving. And we don't know for sure whether it's going to be going to a better place or a worse place. You can feel like it's going to a worse place. You're like, oh, women don't make sandwiches no more, but you still want me to pay for the first date. That it might feel like it sucks at the moment, but that doesn't mean the next iteration of whatever this is about to be is the worst thing in the world. We just got to employ some different tactics, or just keep sitting back and watching hoes get dunked on and enjoy that. That could be, who knows? Who knows? I don't fucking know, because I'm out of the game. So, but I think it does deserve a closer look and closer scrutiny. And I think we'll do that real soon. I think we'll dive into some of the red pill content. We visit it and talk about it every now and then.
So how about this? Like, I might be able to pull together plenty of Blackfish females. We can have a discussion about the dating world and what's going on and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I think, like I said, I think it deserves a wider discussion, just because we do touch on it so often, but we've never actually sat down, and created the premises and the rebuttals and shit like that. And I know it's super popular content, so it's obviously resonating with a lot of people who are watching it, but sometimes it's epicaricacy, it's schadenfreude. It's just enjoying the suffering of other people who don't agree with you. And I think that is a folly when it comes to...
That's what social media built.
I think if you're really looking for solutions and a better iteration of how humans interact with each other, just enjoying the suffering of the women on the show or the people who call in, I don't think that's good enough. I mean, it's a place to start. It's an honest place to be. I ain't shaming nobody for it, because it's fucking hilarious sometimes. But that's not where problems get solved. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it just shows how broken the dating market is, and how broken courtship is. You're not gonna fall in love with somebody, or someone's not gonna fall in love with you after you dunk on them. It's just not gonna work that way. But I do see what you're saying. Like, that conversation taking place is just demonstrative of how broken this shit is, and how hard it is out here for people to try to meet.
And it's bad information all around. It's bad information.
Yeah. He said I'm stuck in the Stone Age when it comes to intersexual dynamics. I am, though, because I've already won the game. I've already won the game. I'm out of the game. The game has changed a lot, but I already won. I don't need to be kept abreast of intersexual dynamics, maybe for my opinion when I'm talking about it, but my actual life, I don't need to. We've been almost 30 years we've been together successfully. Every year gets better. That's my best friend. So, and I know that's some beta, like, that's a lot of people from that community would laugh at me saying that, but they don't understand the experience that I'm having in real life. A lot of these dudes are bitter. They're having sex with some of the most attractive women anybody's ever seen, and they're disgusted with them.
Dead inside.
They're dead inside. Listen, and 5 minutes after you're done, you want to chew your arm off to get away from her.
10-year relationship, divorce. I'm not diving into the dating world, but I dived in to see what's going on, not to like be involved with nobody. Cause fuck that shit.
Nah,
I just want to know what the fuck. I just want to know what the fuck is going on, because it's like I'm paying attention to what's going on through social media and the world. So I'm like, what's going on? And it's stupidity.
Right? No, I get it, bro. See, he said I'm blue pilled. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's like this one way or the other. Red pill is for people who are having a bad experience to wake themselves up to a new experience that's going to be more beneficial for them. I'm already having the beneficial experience. So that's my red pill. That's my truth. It's the real life. It's real life. People who are in the game right now, They don't think this exists. They don't think, and I'm not delusional, right? So I've likened it before to blindfolding yourself and crossing an 8-lane highway. Just because I did it doesn't mean it would be ridiculous of me to suggest that somebody else do it. That may be what I did. Maybe I dodged all the bullets. I found the right person. We figured it out and we're enjoying our life together. I wouldn't tell somebody now to do the same thing. Oh yeah, just meet a girl and have kids and fucking, maybe it's a different game out here right now. Maybe there's more traffic. Maybe I did it at a time when it was able to be done still. But this is what I did. I beat the game. So it just depends on what you want out of your life. If you want access to mad women, you want to have a harem of women and 15 wives that you can, they all know about each other, go for it, B. I'm not shaming nobody. If it works for you, it works for you. If you only want 10s and after they hit the wall at 30, you get rid of them and trade her in for a 19-year-old, go for it. I'm not shaming nobody for how they organize their life, but that's just not me and what I crave from my experience. I already won. So maybe that does make me a little bit biased to their information, but like I said, that's why I think it would be beneficial for us to really sit down and really look at it, and maybe we'll invite some other people on the show to give their opinion about it. But again, I'm not in the game. So there's not a whole lot I can say from
like
an active player's experience.
Participate in it. Like, I know it's a game, so I'm like, listen, I'm too blunt with people, so I'm like, listen, this is a game and I choose not to play. Like, I'm too honest.
Right.
Like, I'm not looking for
I
none
couldn't
of this.
imagine even trying to date
in
this environment.
It's
like,
ridiculous.
I adore my wife. I think we might love each other more than any two human beings fucking love each other. And I love that analogy about the 8-lane highway. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how I would give advice to somebody. I know what it's supposed to look like. I know the depth and the meaning and the happiness when you're calibrated correctly and both people value the same things and you have each other's back and you're engaged. You know what I mean? Like, when you say my wife's my best friend, that shit don't sound corny at all to me. I know how it does to other people.
Right. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
But I just I wouldn't know how to tell anybody to replicate that.
Right.
Like, people are full of shit. Those same guys who are saying like that's corny, that's this and that, are the same guys who are cheating on their girl, get caught and cry like bold tears.
No, you know who it is.
Nah, you can't cry after you cheat.
No, you know who it is.
That's the same people.
Those are the guys. People. Those are the guys who have they don't have access to the county fair, and they say county fairs are stupid anyway. I didn't want to go. That's just dumb. Roller coasters are stupid. Like, if you were in here experiencing it, you probably have a different opinion of it.
But you know what though? But I also kind of get that, because it's why would you want to torment yourself? You would rather think that it's not possible and it doesn't exist,
right,
than to think that you're missing out on it. But given the way social media has fucked up interpersonal relationships and culture, like, how do you unearth anything meaningful in that context? Like, or find somebody who's not on bullshit. And like you said, once you introduce the paradox of choice and people have all these options, what is really going to be that X factor that makes you say, I really want to try to build something with this person? And how long before you find out that, you know, they're completely full of shit and now my passport's gone and I'm sticking shit up my asshole on OnlyFans.
Exactly.
I thought she loved me, but she just wanted me on this webcam.
Hey, listen, I get it. Like I said, I'm under no delusions, and I know the rarity just over time anyway. You know, so many people get divorced and so many relationships break up, and people treat each other like they're disposable. You know what I mean? Like, oh, just get rid of it and find a new person. Like, I know what's going on out here to a degree. I know what's going on. I just haven't had that experience, so it's very, very different for me. But I think it does deserve a deeper conversation. So I'm looking forward to us diving into this and putting a real presentation together on it, because that is a good question for now, as an alternative to what people like that are talking about. There obviously is a lot of delusion, a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of fucking schadenfreude out there when it comes to all of it, going back and forth from men towards women and from women towards men. It's a crazy fucking mix-up going on out here. And sometimes I do just kick back and be like, oh, what's wrong with people? But that's just me choosing in that moment to not really collate all the data and look at what's really happening. Because what we have managed to do, me and Mr. Cave Manistein here, what we have managed to do, especially from the era that we come from, I don't know very many people in my age group that are happily married, people who I went to high school with or nothing like that. I don't know many. I know guys who got multiple baby mamas and on child support and shit like that. I know women who got multiple baby daddies and people who are still single at almost 50 years old, still trying to date. And I know a lot of that. There's a lot of dysfunction, a lot of that shit going on. So I know that what we were able to do, even from our time, was rare. My parents weren't married. My dad wasn't with my mom. So even in my family, I'm one of the only people who's had a successful relationship over time in my family. You know what I'm saying? My grandmother and my grandfather wasn't married. So shit's been dysfunctional for a long time. I understand that what we were able to do was an absolute rarity, and it makes me respect it and cherish it even more. So now you're talking about people who were just starting out, people who were 25. And we, like I said, I was 19. My wife was 17. We were kids. We didn't have the baggage of divorce and children by other people. Like, there was so many factors that weren't at play when we got together. Now, like I said, you got people who are 35 years old going on a 400th first date. Shit is rough. I'm not under any delusions that you can just go out here and meet somebody and have a happy life together. But what I'm saying is what the red pill community is saying, a lot of the shit that they're teaching people, they're teaching them tactical advice, and tactics don't always work when it comes to romantic relationships. It's good to know things about how people behave and look for certain cues that shit may not be what you think it is. But if it's just completely on paper, black and white tactical, you're looking for a business partner, not an actual relationship partner. I think there's other nuances that got to be taken into consideration there. But again, I'm speaking from a very privileged and position of it's a minority. A lot of this shit ain't happening. Yeah, we are. We're dinosaur biggest when it comes to that kind of shit. Because I have my own world going on here, and I appreciate it, and I totally get how it could be very, very different from what a lot of other people are experiencing. But this is just my reality, son. I mean, it just is what it is. So, but I respect it. I respect the conversation. So I definitely look forward to diving into it a little bit deeper here in the near future. But I think we've done enough heavy lifting for today. I appreciate everybody who tuned in and listened and commented and all of that. I appreciate all the activity and the engagement. Yeah, much love, much respect for sticking around to listen to us. We're still trying to figure this thing out, but everybody who's clicking like and subscribing, we appreciate y'all. Again, shout out to Devin Tracy, Devon Tracy, the Rue, AIU community. He sent a lot of people over here, and they've been consistent with listening and checking us out to see if they want to stick around. And so far, they have been sticking around. So respect to him and his community. Hopefully, y'all will become long-term friends of the show. We absolutely appreciate y'all sticking around and listening, man. This shit's dope. It's good to have people to interact with, to bounce these thoughts off of. We are by no means haven't figured it out yet. We just trying to figure it out, and this is our way of navigating this shit, man. So, you know, I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate you brothers for making time again to attack these hot topics, especially this one. But yeah, man, y'all brothers enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'm sure we'll be linking up and talking again soon.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we'll talk soon. Y'all take it easy.
Peace.
Peace.
The quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely. religion of tomorrow.